Real Nerds is a proud partner of the Denver Podcast Network. In the shadow of the mountains,
we speak.
Do you remember where you were when we elected a Sasquatch president?
How about when you learned Ben Franklin was a robot?
Or first heard Stalin's mixtape?
I'm Zach Powers.
I'm Brian Flynn, and we host The Revisionists.
Each episode, one person explains real history and another tells an alternate version.
And the winner becomes the truth. We let comics from Denver and around the country run wild through history.
It's an in-depth look at history, but with more Babadooks.
Check out The Revisionists, available every other Saturday.
Wherever you get podcasts and at revisionistpodcast.com.
Oh, hi, podcast listeners. There's many ways you can listen to the Real Nerds podcast. You can subscribe on iTunes. You can also subscribe on Stitcher Radio. You want to send us a Twitter message? You can do that. It's so easy, at Real Nerds. Like us on Facebook, Real Nerds Podcast. You can visit our website, realnerdspodcast.com, where there'll be a lot of articles for you to not only read, but to listen to our previous shows. You can also call us, 720-6nerds5. Thanks for listening, and enjoy the show.
Hi, this is Brian. No, this is my announcer voice, and you're listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Should I do this as my real self? Oh, shucky darn. Hi, this is Brian Cummings. You're listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Okay, do it straight. Hi, this is Brian Cummings, and actually you are listening to Real Nerds Podcast. Send money and real estate.
Welcome to Real Nerds Podcast, unofficially the official podcast of the newly branded Denver Pop Culture Con. I am Ryan. With me is
James
and
Zach
and
Brad.
2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks in a row. I think all nerds have been here.
Right.
Henry doesn't count because he's in school,
Yeah.
far away. But
At Hogwarts, right? He's in Hogwarts.
oh yes, he's in Hogwarts. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
And every week at Real Nerds Podcast, we go see a new movie and we podcast our experience to the world. This week we saw Venom.
Venom. I'm not Venom. We'll talk about it.
Stay tuned to the end of the show where we will say if you should see the movie or not, and then we'll spoil the film. And,
Will we? Can we? Anyway, we'll get there.
I think there's a couple
we
little
have
things
to?
in it that might be a little spoiler.
Sure.
There's definitely a thing at the end we'll spoil.
Yeah. Yeah. And so stay tuned for that. We also talk about movies we've watched throughout the week, movie news, movies that are coming out on Blu-ray. Which, like, have you noticed the release schedule's been really weird?
Bad?
Well, I mean, like for Blu-rays, because
yeah.
I have stuff that's supposed to come out then keeps on getting delayed, and then I don't know why.
Well, and then we had like weeks where there was nothing, and then then you'd suddenly have, I mean,
the-
right now it's busy because, October's got a lot of Halloween releases, but
I think that the digital release schedule is disrupting things because they're really pushing for people to like buy it in advance,
Yeah.
digitally.
And sometimes I know, because I like the specialty things like Scream Factory, sometimes they run into problems with
License
licensing.
rights, yeah.
Because they just announced Cobra, which I'm really excited about.
Right.
And
But
if
they
you
can't
read
get the art,
Yeah, they
yeah.
can't do the art because Stallone probably won't let them. And it's just
I'm not beefy enough.
in Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, they've ran into huge problems because Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey hate that movie so much that any of their involvement they just want like taken off of it.
They're in that movie?
Yeah.
You don't need that. Well, it's got to be beyond the artwork then, because you don't need them for the artwork, really.
Lots of special
well,
features and stuff.
Yeah, well, you need them for the artwork because you're using their likeness.
No, but you don't have to.
Oh, yeah, no, they did. So now it's just Leatherface.
Yeah, which is fine. But are they running into further issues with it regarding like special features?
Well, it's a pain in the ass. I think they pushed it to December now, and it's because that movie is infamous for how bad it is and how much they try to bury it because I think it shot in '94, and then Zellweger hit big with Maguire in '96,
and McConaughey with Amistad the year after that.
Exactly. So,
or actually, A Time to Kill even.
Yeah. So they tried to bury it, but as soon as Zellweger hit it big with Jerry Maguire, like, oh, she's in this movie too, and she tried to get her name removed from it, and Just not going to happen.
Well, I don't think it's all Zellweger's fault. So, James, if your hero McConaughey is responsible for me not getting another Scream Factory movie, I'm not going to be happy.
no.
I don't know why you guys are bitching. You're going to have
The
plenty
DVD
of
exists.
entertainment because next week your copy of It's Pat on Blu-ray comes out. So you're going to be just fine. Like, just hold your horses.
With an uncredited writing credit by Quentin Tarantino.
But does anybody have our email open? Because
No.
I would have it, but he's playing on my phone.
Corinne's email?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
So
get
I was hoping someone could read. For those uninitiated, because this is going to be her first one she sent in, Corinne is going back and watching classics that she should have watched or that she's told she should watch
Yeah.
that she hasn't seen.
The quote-unquote list of shame.
Yeah, so she calls it Classics by Corinne or Classics Watch. I don't know. Brad has the email.
Corinne watching classics.
Corinne watching classics.
Catching the classics.
Catching the classics
Ah.
with Corinne. And so, Brad, why don't you read her email for her first film she has discovered?
Hey, nerds. So, as Ryan might have mentioned, I recently discovered a whole bunch of very famous and popular movies on Netflix that I've never seen. Like Brad with 2001: A Space Odyssey, I've probably encountered them somehow through pop culture, but I've never actually sat down and watched these movies. Until now. My plan is to watch one movie a week and then send you guys an email with my review.
Cool.
This week, Steel Magnolias.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
The only thing I knew going into this movie was that it was a chick flick, in quotes, and I use that term lightly, and that something sad happens. Even when I sat down to watch it with
Yeah.
my friend, who'd seen it before,
Diabetes.
she suggested that we get a box of tissues ready. Overall, I wasn't too thrilled or too bored with it. It was okay.
Aw.
I think I'd give it maybe a B- or a C+. I think the cast is eclectic, but talented. I thought Sally Field really held the movie together, and her performance in that cemetery scene was absolutely heart-wrenching. I actually liked the time skips and thought it was a good way to see these characters address different but connected challenges over the course of 3 or 4 years. There were definitely some funny moments that made me and my friend laugh out loud, and I liked how these women were all unique enough that they didn't feel like stereotypes or cookie cutters. They had their own personalities and goals. On the flip side, I had a problem with this movie's character structuring. I think they were trying to go for a more ensemble-type feel, except that some of the characters got more attention and development than others, and yet none of them seemed to get so much attention or development that any of them could be considered the main character. I also thought that the ending was a little disjointed. Annelle is about to have her baby, and they rush off to the hospital, and that's it? Why not go another 5 minutes, show us the women coming to see Annelle in the maternity ward, and then do a cheesy freeze frame with all of them huddled around Annelle as she's holding the baby? That's how I would have done it. I was just leaving space for commentary.
Dramatic pause. I'm waiting to comment for the end.
Yeah, and I can definitely tell that this movie was based on a play.
Yeah.
I felt like the dialogue was really stilted at times, and I kept thinking to myself, "Who talks like that?" Lots of high school drama in close quarters. It works in stage plays, but comes off a little melodramatic here.
Yeah.
Overall, as I said, I didn't either love it or hate it. I'd probably watch it again one of these days, and I will say that having the box of tissues handy was a good idea.
Yeah.
Steel Magnolias, 3 out of 5 stars. Thanks, nerds.
Wow.
I think for my second movie, I'll be reviewing Scarface, the 1983 version.
That's such a dramatic switch from Steel Magnolias.
Yeah.
I do want to hear that.
Awesome.
interpretation,
Yeah.
yes.
Steel Magnolias. It's pretty
great.
good flick.
I haven't seen it.
I would be remiss if I would be remiss if I didn't mention that is not a good representation of what it's like to live with diabetes and that you can also have kids and have diabetes. So just saying. But either way,
It's one of those films that people really like that I just could never get into.
And they reference it a lot.
Yeah, it's a little too sappy for me.
it's definitely melodramatic.
Yeah.
Like it is that last scene in the graveyard is like the reason to watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not just because her performance is great, but it is a heartbreaking, beautiful scene.
Its reputation as the quote unquote, as she called it, chick flick has, I guess, been supplanted by The Notebook in terms of like melodramatic romance.
Yeah, but it's not
As a cultural reference,
but it's
sure.
not a romance. It's not. Yeah, that's not even.
I know, but like how people use the reference.
Yeah, what is great about that movie and why it deserves some attention is because it's one of like 6 movies that's just about women and their relationships with each other, and like that itself is so unique that it demands some attention.
And Sally Field is great in that movie.
I
She's
like
wonderful.
Fried Green Tomatoes a lot more in that like genre of hey, here's some ladies in a room talking movies, but I still think it's good.
And I mean, if there's any more realistic, I mean, if it's just ladies in a room talking, it'd be like a 5-hour-long movie, and nothing gets accomplished.
You're the worst.
There goes our
I just
female
can't.
audience.
And my mom stops listening. Yeah, well, good. That's exciting. I don't really want to hear her talk about Scarface because I don't really want to hear about Scarface.
Oh, I would love to hear her.
Yeah,
opinion.
I'm curious.
I when she told me that, I did not know how to respond because Scarface is another film where I think its reputation totally precedes it.
Yeah.
Where if you watch it, it's not good.
It's not good. Yeah,
It's not like poorly made. It's just
well. It's what I
No,
what I
it's-
always
yeah.
say about,
Well,
and
interesting.
I'll talk about it later because I watched another De Palma film this week. But he's a
Did
very
you watch the good one?
I don't know. Define good for me.
Untouchables.
Untouchables. When I say did you watch the good one, I mean Untouchables.
Well,
no.
there's other good ones.
No.
Carrie.
No.
Carrie's a good one.
So yeah, he's a
The
very
remake?
interesting
No, the first
filmmaker. And I'll talk about it later. But we also go around town with our local town a night
I got so excited.
with
I don't know why.
Brad. Because he has a motorcycle now. No more scooter going around town. Vroom, vroom, vroom goes Brad around town. He's riding around the town. Vroom, vroom, vroom goes Brad to the movies for you to enjoy.
Hey, film buddies, follow me around Denver.
Does his motorcycle sound like this? Venom, 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 venom.
This week at the drive-in, they have changed it up, and they're starting off with the house with a clock on its walls.
Oh.
In its walls.
In its walls? On its walls?
A house
It's in
with a
the
clock.
house.
It's
on
in
its
Eli
wall.
Roth's house.
a lot less interesting if the clock is just
It's
on
a fun
the
movie.
wall.
If you have kids, I think they'd like it.
Cool.
As long as they can handle some scary stuff.
I want to go
So
this week.
people should bring their kids to that instead of Venom, like the people who brought their kids to Venom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of Venom, that is their second feature.
Is that going to be
Oh.
another one of our long-running jokes? I think so.
Followed by the Predator. So,
That's kind of fun.
Clock, Venom, Predator.
It slowly just weeds the children out as the night goes on.
Those are the three most terrifying words in the English language: predator, venom, and clock.
And then at the Esquire Midnight is... Even though I was just there last night, I wasn't paying attention, so I have to look it up.
What did you see last night?
Beetlejuice
okay.
is currently playing as we're recording this, but it's Halloween, the original 40-year-old one,
Yep, the good one.
where
Cool.
3 people die. Spoiler.
And
Hey,
you
that's-
seem to think this is a problem. Why?
That's more than Rambo.
I'm just saying, Jason gets shit done.
He does. And legally this week, too.
Wait. Jason's legally killing people this week? What?
Well, no, I'm talking about the legal
Oh.
issues with Friday the 13th.
Yes, up till now it wasn't legal for him to do it.
For those who don't know, Friday the 13th, one of the reasons they can't make movies and do video games is the original creator of Friday the 13th, Victor Miller, sued on the copyright expiration thing where after 25 years, the original people can get back their rights. And Sean Cunningham said he is work for hire, and they developed the script together, so he worked as an employee. Basically, he was like Marvel Comicsing it. He created all this stuff. Horror Inc. is the company that Sean Cunningham has the rights to all of it. And Victor Miller's like, no, I own the rights. And the judge's like, you do own the rights.
Oh.
So he has the
Sean
rights
was
to
like, no.
the title Friday the 13th in the United States only.
Oh.
So Sean Cunningham still has the rights internationally, and he also doesn't have the rights to Jason. And in the suit, they made a very specific that said the adult hockey mask wearing serial killer.
Right, because he
So-
doesn't wear a hockey mask in the first
Exactly, and he's not a killer in the first one. So they
Right.
made a very big point as
So
the
now
suit is where it's like
the only way you can make a Friday the 13th movie is if those two guys work together, because one of them owns Jason and one of them owns Friday the 13th.
Yep.
Wow.
So it might just go back to New Line where it's just they start calling it Jason something. Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, Freddy versus Jason.
Dude, if I were the Friday the 13th guy, I would be like, that's fine. Just pay me a nice chunk and you can use it.
That's what
I
mean. I think eventually you just because I actually don't think
otherwise,
there's any
why own it?
animosity between the two. I think.
Okay.
I think it just. I mean, if I was him, I'd be
they
like,
just didn't pay each other properly.
Exactly.
Like one of them had all the power and didn't pay the other one right. So, interesting.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, that whole and that was a gray, not even a gray area period. It was like a Wild Wild West period of how the rights get mingled and tangled up. Watch Crystal Lake Memories, man. Like,
or you can read it, and I mean, they had a bunch of producers involved and giving money. So,
Brad, did Real News just take over your segment?
I was thinking we could jump into news, but I do have something I want to advertise first. And I also specified that was all information for the weekend of the 13th and 14th.
Sure.
But also, speaking of the 13th and 14th, The Bug is showing the stage version of Cannibal the Musical.
Yeah.
And the 13th, in the evening, they're doing a midnight showing of the movie. So after the show.
Nice.
So I will be going to that. And you should too. I think it's like $20 or something. So
that's not bad.
The screening might be less, but definitely check that out. It starts at 7, stage version, and then it'll be going, I think, through the rest of October. So if you can't make it next weekend, definitely check out the following weekends, and I'll definitely advertise for the rest of what's going around town. And that's what's going on around town. Venom.
Oh, there. Brad just ran off on his motorcycle. Venom.
Hey, movie news. We call real news.
It's real news.
See, back in the old days, movies just come on reels, and they would be projected on a screen as they went through a projector.
You hear that, you jerk from the Sea Film Center?
So this week, Jake Gyllenhaal went to the Czech Republic and dressed up funny.
Yeah.
What?
We have very distant photos of Jake Gyllenhaal maybe dressed up like Mysterio.
Oh, okay.
He went to Europe wearing a cape.
Yeah. He went to Europe and hung out in a costume that looks like Thor dropped himself into some paint. Because he's got like the big red cape like from Thor 1 with the big silver like disc things, but then he's like purplish.
Yeah, people just want stuff from this film that they've actually blown it up and like smoothed it out, and you can see patterns on it that look like Mysterio's cape, and cool. his gloves are gold. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So if he comes out in a globe,
did they figure out there's like a blue thing on his head? Did they figure out what's on his head?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because like he obviously isn't in a big globe head.
Well, there's the globally CGI, obviously.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah. It's like because his head is just like Jake Gyllenhaal with a beard. So I'm wondering if they're just gonna replace his whole head with CG. In which case, maybe he'll be like a ghost head, like in the Ultimate Universe, which would be cool.
I'm down.
I mean, a little bit far fetched for the MCU, but whatever. Yes, sir. Oh, good job. Hey, Rambo 5's a cowboy now.
Heck yeah.
This also kind of looks like an ad for some kind of like
urban
outwear.
He's selling cigarettes. Yeah,
it's Marlboro Man.
Well, he's going to be stopping the government from, with
taking my land,
oil pipelines or something. I don't know.
Ooh, all right, sure, whatever. I don't care. I mean, if Sylvester Stallone mows down bad guys, I'm probably fine. What I don't want is a thoughtful film in which he doesn't kill anyone. That's certainly not what I'm looking for.
I want him to take 2 Gatling guns on 2 Jeeps and shoot them at the same time and just liquefy people.
While doing the splits.
But I want him to do it like The Rock, where he rips it off of the Jeeps and then like one hands them both. That's what I want.
I want to be chasing someone, some cartel guy, through his cattle ranch, and they get like sliced through some barbed wire on his fence.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be like Resident Evil, where they fall to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
or what was the Final Destination 2, where the fence slices them in half.
I want him to say, "I'm drawing the last blood" at the end of the movie, and then he walks away.
This still says Rambo 5, but it would be great if they just call it Last Blood, because it doesn't make any sense.
And then as the bad guys are running off his property, like they don't realize that he's put landmines around the perimeter, so they just start exploding. And then the explosion creates holes that give rise to oil deposits, and then he gets rich off of
Sounds
this.
like the most.
And then he moves to Beverly Hills.
Yep.
This sounds like the most Murica
with his
thing.
with his grandfathers, with his grandfather and grandmother. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. It looks cool. I don't care. I just hope he shoots people. Netflix is going to remake all the Chronicles of Narnia stuff. Completely ignoring all of the films, it seems like, which I think is great.
Wait, so Liam Neeson isn't going to play a Jesus Lion anymore?
Right. Well, I mean, they might get Liam Neeson back to play Jesus Lion, but
he's too busy saving people from being taken.
He's not that busy. Well, he's not doing anything else. Those like the first movie of those was good, but then they sort of declined over time.
The Narnias
enough that like no one remembers they even made Voyage of the Dawn Treader. So it's like, why don't? Yeah,
it was Fox trying to reboot it after they got a claim on it from Disney.
Walden, yeah.
Well, they got through 4 of them, so there's 3 left.
Yeah, but they're just gonna start over. Like the thing to do is go cast some kids, throw them into a cool fantasy universe for a few seasons, and have some fun. Like,
are they that popular that they're worth rebooting though?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
I liked that first one, and I thought the second one was fine.
There's money in those Christians. Just saying.
Yeah, aside from that element of it.
Let me talk to you about movies. God. God's Not Dead 3.
Let's not crucify the Christians for
whoa, hey now.
But they already did it, and they didn't show up, so and that's why they're in this predicament.
It's not as on the nose as The Passion of the Christ.
So they got to put a Jesus fish on the poster.
Those movies got progressively worse and then not marketed well either.
The problem is they don't have Jim Caviezel screaming for his life. That's what you need in a Narnia movie to make it successful with Christians.
More violence.
If you made it a series,
Narnia movies.
There's enough stuff in there. You could make it a series, make it a good series.
Yeah, I mean, I liked those books and I liked those films. I didn't see Dawn Treader, but I'm down to see it. Like, those books are fine.
Yeah, no, that'll be good. Chris Evans officially wrapped Avengers 4 and said, "Yeah, I'm not gonna put that cowl back on again." So, which I think we all kind of knew. I don't know if that means he's dead. No one does. We'll find out. But
or it's another misdirect because they did it before.
Well, yeah. I mean, yes, he keeps saying he's going to retire and then not because they back a dump truck of money up to his house, but
he doesn't want to reveal that he's going to be playing the Human Torch one more time. So.
Ooh, yeah, that's what it is.
Holding that news back.
He's got to get out of Captain America so he can get back into the Human Torch before Marvel reboots it.
Or Scott Pilgrim 2, Revenge of Lucas Lee.
Yeah, sure.
Avengers Annihilation is actually a setup for a Crisis on Infinite Earths where Chris Evans will be able to play Human Torch and Captain America because the universes just become this
and that's when my brain will explode.
It'll be like the ultimate MCU.
I do want to see Chris Evans play kind of the douchebag again. Haven't seen that in a while.
It would actually be great if Marvel named their movie Avengers Crisis on Infinite Earths just to shit all over DC. Like, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
We have the money now.
Yeah.
Actually, I forgot to say I did watch Not Another Teen Movie like a couple weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Chris Evans being a douchebag.
He's pretty great in that.
Yeah, that movie's actually really, really funny.
That movie is really funny. I love. I always say it, but I love the scene where he's looking at a picture of himself. in the same pose.
I actually think he's kind of underrated just because he smiles so much.
Yeah,
like he's just so handsome and friendly.
He's good in that What's Your Number movie. And Anna Faris is good in it too. Movie itself's weird, but
yeah. Indiana Jones has put together a writer's room for Indiana Jones 5.
And why aren't you on it?
Which is like the best news I've heard about Indiana Jones 5 so far. Because honestly, I want like 5 smart guys to sit around and figure out how to make that. They just gotta fix it.
How to make an 8-year-old man an action hero?
They just gotta make one that's good, so we can all forgive the other one.
You know what? If Clint Eastwood can do it into his 70s and 80s, I think it'll be easy as shit to do this with
Harrison Ford will be just fine.
Yeah,
he'll be just fine. It'll be just fine.
Do you think, though, that George Lucas will put on a fake mustache and try to invade that writer's room?
George Lucas doesn't have to be there.
Hey, guys, how you doing? My name is Ron Stevenson.
I think Indiana Jones should just take down the Nazis with a plane, because he's really good at that.
That's
You should just take
terrible.
like a prop plane
Exactly.
and just mow them down. That'd be sweet.
Tora.
Don't bring his dad this time.
You joke, but the man survived a plane crash because he's that cool.
No,
So
he's invincible. But I'm saying
sure he'll be fine.
he can take down a plane and kill Nazis with it and walk away. So
Yeah.
that's what.
Exactly.
I mean, the dude who played Chewbacca said that that door that landed on his leg almost killed him.
Yeah.
So
I mean, except for the fact that he's invincible.
Oh, and as he's walking away from that fire, he just like brushes off his hat because it got a little dust on it.
Well, yeah. Well, no, it flies out of the explosion from the force of the explosion and
Unsinged.
lands slightly singed, lands on his head. He didn't even have to pick it up.
That's better than the way he got it in 4.
Yeah.
It just blows into the aisle.
Uh,
That movie's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. We're fine. Everything's fine. We don't have to watch it again. It's fine. We're all fine. We got a trailer this week for Vice, which is the movie where Christian Bale got super, super fat and bald. He's in makeup on this one, right?
yeah,
No, he
didn't really get
I'm
that
sure there's
fat.
a makeup job, but he gained that weight.
he did. But I mean, you can tell he's in makeup though.
Yeah, because there's no way he got that fat. Right?
I mean,
like,
well,
he didn't
just
get
the-
that
I'm
fat.
thinking more just the stomach. I don't think you fill out that face that fast for a performance like that.
So
and
you
then-
think even the shot with his stomach is he's gonna die? Like someone needs to intervene.
Oh, I know, but it's all for our amusement. Don't you understand
no,
that?
no.
He cares about you.
He's
no one
going
else but
to
you.
Die.
Best supporting actor is not enough for Christian Bale. He's best actor.
Oh, he's literally like he's gonna walk up, get that Oscar, and fall over dead on stage from like an embolism.
He's probably still got the weight on, so I want to find a way to get in touch with him to make Machinist 2,
I
and then
doubt
just
he does.
really screw with
that
his-
movie was
It's
shot
Mach-
a while ago.
It's Machinist 2, but he's fat now.
No.
Oh,
now
you
he has
mean
to lose
he
that
has
weight
to
super
lose the
fast
weight.
again,
Oh, okay.
super quick.
I thought it was like
Let's expedite this process.
in the sequel he kills people, but he's fat.
But no, I like the trailer. It looked fun. I like McKay's work from The Big Short and the Anchormans. So, and Sam Rockwell looks great as W. Bush. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see.
And my only fear is that it might end up another situation like W, where it just turns into an SNL sketch taken too seriously. But I don't know. I trust McKay to.
No, McKay's not Oliver Stone.
Yeah. Well, Oliver Stone didn't write that movie, but whatever. Like the script is what I'm concerned about. The performances look fine.
Yeah.
So.
And the last piece of news that I have is that The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie, and everyone agrees. And if you don't agree, you're a Russian terrorist.
Troll.
No, I used my words properly. A study came out this week revealing that more than half of the negative tweets about The Last Jedi, specifically a lot of the ones that have to do about like misogyny and hating women and hating different races, are actually bots and Russian trolls who are trying to stir up like political strife.
No.
So, So again, The Last Jedi, great. Anyway,
Yeah.
that's the news. Holy shit, though! Like seriously,
Do you
really?
feel like a mystery's been solved for you somehow?
I mean, a little bit. Yeah, well, I would just say that like the world got brighter that day.
Yeah.
Like I suddenly, like all of a sudden, like the sun rose and it wasn't gloomy and dark. I suddenly believed vampires weren't real again.
Unfortunately, given all the other stuff, it just kind of felt like a small sliver of light just kind of peeked into the gray cloud.
Well, you know, there's still
it was still worth it. Like I liked.
I mean, the
reading
Russians
thing.
look at the internet and go, "I will break you."
Yeah, well, they just said like, "Hey, I bet we can take the 10% of complete shitheels, make them seem like 20, and then make 40 people really freak out."
Ralph break internet, I break internet.
So far in Spider-Man, that's my favorite exchange in the video game.
Yeah.
Spider-Man says like an Ivan Draco like thing, and then Electro says, "I will break you."
Yes.
But no, the article itself is really, really interesting because like now it makes. I mean, hearing it makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, you're clouded by that debate. You don't stop to think about it.
There's still lots of videos online of people raving about or ranting about Last Jedi and saying things that are super misogynist and homophobic and
But
like
that-
just awful.
But it also but again, it's just because it's there doesn't mean it's like. I mean,
Yeah.
hearing this part of it is interesting. Is
Well,
what I'm saying.
and some of it is that additional false encouragement bolsters those people, which is part of the problem.
I wonder if
and the
this is
reason they
the
do
same
it.
team responsible for what happened with the Gotti user reviews.
No, I think
Oh,
Gotti.
I think that's just movie pass paying people off.
Yeah, I think Gotti just is a bad film.
No. The user reviews for Gotti are positive.
Oh, that's
but
right.
The critics are negative because Movie Pass paid people off. Let me tell you about Movie Pass.
No, I haven't read any of the articles about MoviePass the last few weeks.
No,
because I don't care anymore.
I liked that video that Brad sent a couple weeks back about how desperate they are.
Oh yeah, yeah, that was good. Anyway, I think that's mostly news.
Slightly related to something that I'm doing on the website. We got a trailer for a new Clint Eastwood movie called The Mule.
Yeah, he looks bad.
I don't know how to feel about this one. It looks better than 1517 to Paris, to be sure, because it's got actors in it. But yeah, the whole pecan bit at the beginning of the trailer was kind of like,
oh well, yeah. I mean, I think
I don't know. Again, like
I actually thought it looked like a pretty good trailer.
Oh, yeah.
I just think he looks bad.
He's old. I don't know if you know this. He's like in his mid-80s.
He should.
I think
like,
he's 88.
He should lay down.
He doesn't know how to stop, guys. He's been trained to not stop.
I'm just saying, like he should take a vacation.
You know what I hate to admit? The Bumblebee trailer, the new one, looks pretty good.
It's got the original bot designs in a lot of it.
This
and
is,
Optimus
looks
Prime.
fun.
Right. It's going back to like the original movie premise, where it's like, I don't know, kid finds a robot car. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I was in it, and then they had Bumblebee like going in the house and tripping over stuff.
Oh
and
yeah,
that's a bad callback to the first film.
Bumblebee, no.
Is that the one did they push that back, or did they push? What was the Christmas movie they pushed back?
That was
Alita.
Alita.
They pushed Alita back. Yeah, because I was talking last week about how like there's enough stuff piled at Christmas that I'm like, dude, there's like 3 movies I want to see before I see Aquaman. There's a good chance I just don't see Aquaman.
I think
but
Bumblebee
now that
comes out the same day as Aquaman. It comes out the 12th.
It's Mary Poppins, Aquaman, and Bumblebee.
And
are
Spider-Man
all, are all Christmas.
Spider-Verse, right?
You say those
Yeah.
3 names together, and I somehow want to see them team up
No, they're
together
all-
in a movie.
They're all the 21st. And so the problem is, like, I look at that and I go, I would rather see. Well, when Alita was coming out the same week, I was like, I would rather see Alita, Bumblebee, and Mary Poppins twice before I see Aquaman. But I mean, I guess I will.
I'm down to watch James Wan do his movie. That's
Yeah.
why I'm going at this point.
You want to see the final death swan of the DCEU?
I take it back. I also want to see Patrick Wilson as well, because I like Patrick Wilson.
I like Patrick Wilson. Yeah,
He's awesome.
Speaking
I don't know
of-
if he played the Night Owl.
Speaking of movies coming out, I went through the rest of the year and picked out like what would be the best lineup to not have us run into we don't know what we're going to do this week.
Oh, cool.
I figured it all out but 1 week, so we'll discuss that after the show.
Sure.
Sweet.
That week
So-
we'll all just watch Paddington 2.
Because like I said, Christmas has got like a ton of stuff, so
Oh yeah,
I have a plan for that
Christmas is
because
rough.
January sucks
They're
ass.
shooting movies out of a cannon
Yeah.
at that point.
Well, one of the weeks in January is the film Sojourn.
Yeah, I got around that.
But yeah, no. I just wanted to bring it up because like I'm.
Yeah, James, I've been doing this for 6 fucking years. I think I know. Sheesh.
But yeah, the Mule trailer.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Will it make my film explosion list out of obligation?
No.
Nah, but
Does that come out this year?
yeah, it's coming out in December.
Yeah.
That's how fast the turnaround is. That man, when he wants to release a movie, they'll release it for him because Warner Brothers is like taking a blood like a pact with the devil with him or something.
I
it's
guess
just-
he's earned it.
Well, yeah, he is a living
He's made a
legend.
lot of money.
Yeah, he's made a lot of money for Warner.
That's why he should go take a break, man.
Vacation. all I ever
Enjoy your
wanted.
money. Like, sheesh.
If it's bad though, you can your rating could be it sucks ass, and then just laugh and laugh.
Because Mule.
The Mule, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that took me a while to get. Good
Yeah.
job,
Yeah,
Brad.
that was a slow burn
That was-
for me.
that was good.
Shouldn't be though, because it's a common phrase.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's kind of motivating me to try to finish this series up right now, so I can make that the final article about the Mule and 1517 to Paris and how they both came out this year. Anyway, sorry.
Cool. That's news.
Movies come out on Blu-ray and physical media that might be good this week.
DVD releases and Blu-rays. Might be.
I think I have one coming. Yep. What's coming out, James?
Skyscraper is coming out on 4K this week.
It's not that one.
And there's a really great.
Starring Neve Campbell, who I'm glad is still alive and working.
Yeah. There's a really great steelbook edition of it. That's just
Wait, there's a steelbook?
Yes. There's a steelbook of the 4K, and okay, now I have to show you.
Yeah, you do now.
I
You
would-
tell me it's just the Rock jumping.
I wish it was advertised from the director of Dodgeball.
It's just The Rock jumping.
now I almost have to get that movie.
Was that shot in the movie?
No,
Not
I don't
with that,
know.
Not with that lighting.
Because yeah, this is like at dawn or whatever. Like this is totally just some art. Anyway,
That movie's stupid fun.
I want to put a I want to put a word bubble up above that says "I regret nothing."
I would be curious if the movie that you have coming is 8th Grade, which comes out on Blu-ray
Oh,
this week.
no, it's not.
Oh.
I didn't know it was coming on Blu-ray.
Yeah, it is.
I've been so fucking busy. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
I know what he's getting.
I worked
you hacked
10
his
out of the
Amazon?
last 11 days, so I don't remember what day it is sometimes.
Is the movie you're getting this week Hotel Transylvania Trace on 4K?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't know. Those movies, I've said it before, the animated computer films, I don't know if they're that much better on 4K.
Yeah, I don't
You're better off
I
just
don't
getting
know.
Because I heard there's a rumor Lion King is coming out on 4K, which I'd be really interested to see how hand-drawn looks.
Yeah.
But because it
Well,
just gives
that's
it
at
brighter
least,
colors.
That's
I
at
don't
least
know.
coming from a cell, right? Like that was
Yeah,
on film.
I don't know. We'll see.
Constantine City of Demons, the movie. Is that
yes,
on 4K?
the 4K version.
Wait. But this says D. Oh, yeah, right. Constantine is DC.
I think it's a
right. It's
animated
Vertigo.
one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, it's an animated movie where Constantine gets the power of Doctor Strange. What the fuck is this? He has Doctor Strange powers. I kid you not. It's the Time Stone.
Must be a Rob Liefeld cover because there's no feet drawn on that.
Is that Skeletor behind
No,
him?
these characters
No, it's
are
a
in proportion. Well, this is like King Shark, but if King Shark's eyes were rhino
it
horns.
looked like a skeleton from my distance. Then. It's the devil.
Yeah, this is all weird.
Ryan, I
is
want to
weird.
reassure you, it is the devil.
And
he's-
there's a sexy nurse devil too.
In Justice League Dark, that movie's
See?
pretty fun. So that might be a fun movie. I don't know.
It might be. I like Constantine, the movie with
Keanu?
John
Keanu.
Wick?
I like Keanu's. Yeah.
Whoa! I just saved like the devil.
Yeah, it's good.
Did you see the photo from John Wick 3 where he's like riding a horse?
Yeah,
All right, I'm down.
I'm hoping that's how he gets from his burned down house to the city next time.
I'm hoping that's the steel book that's coming out for it.
Oh, it would be great if like he builds a new house, it gets burned down, or they flood it. The bad guys flood his house, and then he has to ride a horse into town this time.
Well, if they flood his house, wouldn't he have to surf away from that danger?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Gets surfing again.
Or he just randomly shows up at that weird castle from the movie Doomsday that's just got knights in it for some reason.
Sweet.
Yeah. And then he fights people. Yeah, it does have knights. This week from Sharp Factory is a collector's edition of Trick or Treat, which I
am
bet is
getting
the
that
one that you're getting. Yeah.
I love Trick or Treat.
Yeah.
One
What?
of my favorite Halloween films. Brad, is that going to be part of your... I love your idea of watching a new horror film every day, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Is that one of your Halloween movies?
Sorry, which one?
Trick or Treat?
I don't have it.
No?
If someone lent it to me, it could be.
If you want, you can have my regular copy because I have a new copy coming this week.
Is your regular copy a DVD?
Blu-ray.
Okay.
Because I don't touch
It's
that
just not a
plate
collector's edition.
It's not a collector's edition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
shit.
Because I'd rather give it to you than get 50 cents for it, like at Second and Charles.
Also from Shout Factory this week is a collector's edition of House on Haunted Hill.
Not the remake.
The 99 version, that's
Yep.
right.
With Jeffrey Rush doing an amazing Vincent Price impression and everything else in that movie.
The Rock has got a skull in it.
Yeah, that's cool, I guess.
Out on 4K this week is The Evil Dead. Emphasis on the.
The 4K Evil Dead.
Yes, it's just
I've
the
bought
4K.
that movie so many times. Like
I know. Do you need a 4K of a movie
I
that's
don't know.
I don't
like
think this one has
shot on
special
video?
features.
Yeah, that's the thing.
well-
If they're not going to add any special features to
well,
it,
the original Evil Dead doesn't have very many special features. Even if you have the Book of the Dead version, it's like, oh, here's
you
an
mean that one
interview.
up there?
Yeah, it's like, here's an interview.
Yeah, I would probably wait until they have all of them. Like, and when there's a 4K like box set of the 4 collected,
Yeah.
like
Which
Well,
isn't going to happen because
Yeah,
of the different
too many,
studios.
Yeah, different
Oh, you're
studios.
right. Oh,
I mean,
you're right.
There was a set though, like the Evil Dead anthology. It was like a book version. It had all of them.
But
All-
that was
all
when
4
that
or
was
just
when
the
like
3?
Even the
Bay had a
remake.
weird license.
and that's
on them.
probably international, though, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yes, it has to be international.
There
Oh,
was
okay.
an Evil Dead like bigger DVD
Longer
edition
uncut.
at some point. Like it's there. I've seen it on eBay, but it's like out of print and
Yeah.
it's expensive.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll see what they say about it. I mean,
It's one of those like, if it ends up being cheap, like then it might be worth it. But yeah, like
I want Evil Dead.
plus
2
my Evil Dead. Actually, I think it's the same art from the Steelbook. But still, the Steelbook of the Evil Dead that I have is just cool. Like, I don't need.
I think the Steelbooks. I don't have it. I've always wanted it because it's like the crumpled up poster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome looking.
Also on Steelbook from Shout Factory this week is Halloween.
Halloween
2.
2. Yeah.
I was getting there.
1981.
I paused for dramatic effect.
They're re-released. They're doing a bunch of steelbooks at Shout. I think they're doing one other thing as well with a new.
I think the Halloween 2 one's awesome.
The Halloween 2
Michael
one is
Myers
cool.
on
That's
fire.
why
I like the Halloween 3 one too because that does capture that film pretty well in one art piece.
Yeah, it's
Again, Halloween 3 is what it is, but
you do a pretty good job with the Steelbooks on making it a collectible thing. And, there's only a couple. I didn't like the Wonder Woman one that came out. I thought her proportionate head looked really weird. Is an animated drawn one.
Yeah, that was not cool.
I didn't like that one, but I mean, like Solo is awesome.
Yeah.
Most of them look pretty sharp.
yeah, most of them.
I wish I could get those from the Disney Movie Club.
I love the Quiet Place one. I just wish it wasn't just Blu-ray. I wish there was a 4K.
I didn't even know there was a quiet. I don't know what's going on.
Wow. Also on 4K this week is Hook.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
If I didn't already own, you shut your mouth, Zach. If you don't want to be nice about,
You know what? Actually, it's funny because someone at work and I were having that discussion, and I'm probably gonna have to.
You don't need to rewatch it
how
because it's
good
shit.
Hook is.
Well,
It is not.
I want to
good.
I want
It
to
is
rewatch
good.
it, and this might
is
be the
fun.
version to just get.
it's a lot of fun.
Well, it's a 4K version, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 4K. Yeah.
Yeah, so
This
I'll
would probably
rebuy
be
it.
the reason.
And
to
probably
just-
it's only like $14 on 4K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm
It's
not
supposed
going
to be a
invest.
steelbook, so I think.
Oh, is there?
I think so.
It doesn't look like one on the site.
I know
Well, that's
there's
just the
a
one I
European Blu-ray steelbook that we didn't get.
Oh
so
man.
they might just
But
transfer that.
I need to revisit it. I've openly said I'm not a big fan of that.
No,
film.
if all the Spielberg films, it's the one that I revisit the least.
Yeah.
That's because you haven't seen the BFG.
That is
How
true. I
often-
have not
yeah,
How
seen
neither
often
have
do
I.
you revisit Always?
it.
I don't
More
know.
often than
Always.
More recently than I've seen Hook.
Okay. Well, then that just means you need to see Hook again.
Empire of the Sun's the one I've seen.
You know,
the least.
so I go through this with my wife all the time. So everyone tells me Hook's awesome. She tells me Nightmare Before Christmas is awesome, and
Nightmare Before
I always
Christmas
sit down and watch it and go, nope.
Hook
I
is
mean,
good.
Nightmare Before Christmas for me is better than Hook, but that's just because I like
What is-
Nightmare Before Christmas.
What is wrong with these people?
Again, I'm
Like,
going to
what
rewatch
the
Hook, and
fuck
I
is
will
wrong with
let
these
you
people?
know if you're right or if I'm just crazy. You know?
Bangarang. Bangarang.
I mean, either way, you'll be right. But
Oh yeah. Well, we know that.
The Spielberg I've least visited is Sugarland Express because I've never seen it.
Yeah.
That's good. Goldie
Yeah.
Hawn's good.
The BFG is his worst film ever.
It's still on
Maybe.
Netflix. I can check it out tonight.
Can't Hardly Wait is out
When I was in high school, that was a really big deal,
on DVD, Blu-ray.
Well, you're not in high school anymore, Ryan.
and that's why Not Another Teen Movie is so funny
Yeah, I was
because
just thinking the
it's
same scene.
just
Because Lacey Chabert's
Yep.
basically, yeah.
There's a imprint called The Unearthed that's releasing a H.P. Lovecraft movie called The Unnameable.
that's one of my favorites from my Blockbuster days.
Yeah.
It's
It's
about
a weird, cool cover.
it's about this demon that I vaguely remember it, but it eats people.
Large
basically.
breasts is what the
Yes.
demon is. Yes.
It basically, I remember it eats people. That's what I remember most about it.
Yeah. There's like two people laying down about to have sex, and there's a severed head next to them. Ah!
There's a sequel too. So many years ago, when Blockbuster was still around, I used to just go into the horror section and I would pick movies based on their cover because in horror, you're either going to get crap or you're going to get something good.
There's a lot of the same.
Yeah. And so The Unnameable was one that was pretty well done. The prosthetics in it and the gore are pretty great. I don't remember hardly anything about it, but I remember really liking it when I was younger. It doesn't mean a whole lot because, sometimes you like things when you're younger and you see them now, you go, not so much. I'm hoping it recaptures my youth.
We may talk about one of those today.
So there's a thing on 4K this week called Hotel Artemis that has Jodie Foster
Yeah, it came out
and
this year.
Jeff Goldblum.
I saw it.
And did you? Is
Yeah.
it good?
The
cover's
you must have gone
awesome.
that week. Yeah.
Yeah, the cover's awesome.
It's It's like another one of those Tarantino clones where they,
Oh, you mean Bad Times at the El Royale?
yeah, where it's like it feels like someone out of like it's their first movie and they really want to make an action movie with the witty dialogue and.
Oh, you mean Smoking Aces?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very familiar.
Smoking Aces is great, though. I like Smoking Aces. And by great, I mean that movie is fun. Deadly Crush. True Love Never Dies. There's a very large...
It's so much worse than just Crush.
Yeah, Deadly Crush. This cabin is well lit on the cover here. Anyway, that's out this week from Paradise Cove, Paradise something. And then the very last thing I have here is Bloodlust, which is out from Mondo. It will haunt the darkest corners of your mind.
Bloodlust sounds like an appealing title.
About as twisted and perverse as they come, says Cinema Arcana.
Okay.
This guy's there's two eyeballs in a jar.
I like that artwork. It's very interesting.
I don't. This is terrible.
He's looking at those eyeballs, but those eyeballs aren't looking at him because they're off into crazy land.
He's not very interesting to look at. Anyway, I think that is the Blu-rays for this.
You know
week.
why I didn't like Psycho? Because Norman Bates wasn't interesting to look at.
Yeah.
You know why I didn't like Venom? Because Eddie Brock wasn't interesting to look at.
Pretty great. Cool.
Yep.
Also, I need to offer a correction. Something I made a mistake on. That Scream Factory one that I talked about a couple weeks ago about a Charles Bronson murder movie. That wasn't the one. The one that's coming out is the 10 to Midnight one. That's the one.
Yeah, I don't remember. I remember. I heard it's like insane.
Yeah, but it's that one, not the one that I mentioned before.
So stop writing in. Zach understands.
Yeah.
No,
so
but I
made a
heard
mistake.
Quit filling up our inbox. With
I heard that.
correction.
I read that notice. And I was like, oh shit, I got that wrong because I haven't seen it either. But I've just heard it's fucking nuts. So.
Oh shit, I missed one. Sorry guys. The anniversary edition of Jonathan Taylor Thomas's "I'll Be Home for Christmas" is also coming out on Blu-ray this week. Don't miss it.
I think that's all I needed.
Is he still alive?
Probably.
No, he is. I'm just kidding. I don't know. He took his fat home improvement money and said, I'm going to go to college and do something with my life.
Yeah, I think he did just fine. Yeah. That's what I would
And then
do.
he shows up every once in a while. You're like, oh, I
Yeah.
remember that guy. I remember all the girls when I was younger used to think he was so hot.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if Tim Allen calls him at home at 4 a.m.
He does.
Oh.
And Jonathan Taylor Thomas says, hello, and he goes,
I was
Tim, stop calling me.
I was rooting for him. I think he was pretty good.
yeah,
You know?
no, I don't think
I
there's an issue
saw
with him.
"I'll Be Home for Christmas" in the theaters, and it was entertaining.
I remember him and Brad Renfro and Tom and Huck.
Yeah, Tom and
Yeah.
Huck.
Hey, where's Brad Renfro now?
Is he dead?
Yes.
Oh no.
He died of a heroin overdose. He was supposed to be in
Freddy vs. Jason.
Freddy
right?
vs. Jason.
Yeah.
And they cast him and they're like, you're too strung out. And then he died like a week later.
I actually heard that Jonathan Taylor Thomas just injected him with a lot of heroin because he was mad.
Whoa!
I'm not your Huck.
I should have been Huck.
This sounds like worse than freaking what's that autofocus movie
Yeah.
with Craig Kinnear?
Oh. Anyway, movies.
Yeah, we watch movies throughout the week in a segment we call Real Nerds Watch Movies.
Oops, this week.
So, this is the stuff we've been watching.
His name changes like every week.
I know. I'm trying to think of something more clever, and I can't.
You'll get there.
Maybe. It's only been 7 years.
What my
One
eyeball
day.
saw.
God, we're on volume 8 now.
Yeah. Brad, what'd you watch this week?
So much stuff.
Sweet.
I will start with a lot of new stuff. Assassination Nation I caught last week during Film Explosion.
The neon release, yeah.
It's interesting. A lot of what's in the trailer is really the finale of the movie. A lot of before that is just kind of discussions and things with these 4 girls.
Political topics.
Actually, 3 girls. I think that it took me forever to realize that the 4th one might be a trans actor.
Is the beginning of the movie basically just Steel Magnolias and then they kill everyone?
I haven't seen Steel Magnolias.
Oh shoot!
I don't know.
Brad.
So it's like C-SPAN before it turns into Spike TV.
I think they explained in the trailer. Someone releases everyone's like phone data, and then so the town just starts getting suspicious, and all everyone's secrets are exposed, and then there's about like a lot of false blame going around, and it all kind of gets targeted on this group of girls. But the best part, though, is in the finale, there's a home invasion about to happen. And so the girls are having their like little slumber party. And then the camera's outside the window watching them like on the beanbag, like watching a movie. And then it starts to like back out and you see like silhouettes like trying to crack open the window. And then it's almost like a Wes Anderson shot where it slides to the different rooms and just like a single, like in a single plane. And so like it'll suddenly go to down to the first floor. And, like one of the girls leaves the room and it follows her through the different windows. And then, she'll go to the bathroom on the first floor, and then there's like another guy who's like already started to like get inside, like close the window and like dart off to the side until she's gone, and then she'll go to another room, and then finally, there's actually one already behind the drapes, and then like grabs her. So like that shot's pretty cool, and it keeps going for like I think 2 or 3 minutes because the crane eventually like jumps off that plane and over the driveway as police cars go up, and like and like the law enforcement has like turned against him too, so like the town's just in this hysterical panic, and it's pretty insane. So that was cool. That was the coolest part of that.
Cool.
Then I also watched Black Klansman, which was tough because
it's Black K Klansman.
Black Klansman was tough because as soon as the movie started, a couple came in, sat right behind me, and just talked through the whole movie. I even got up and complained and had someone come in and talk to him. And as soon as that guy left, they just started talking again.
Was it the Alamo or?
It was at the Denver West.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Oh.
Yeah. But aside from that, once I was able to settle into the movie and like block them out, I actually enjoyed it a lot.
Cool.
It's also hard to watch because
Racism?
the racist people. Well, yeah, the racist people are really racist, and it's hard to.
Not in a Spike Lee film.
Well,
it's hard to watch because, ouch.
Because I'm just sitting there going like, this is a little bit of a heightened, cinematic thing, but I also realize that those people are real in real life.
Right. Yeah.
And that's like, oh.
Well, maybe they're not. Maybe they're Russian trolls.
No.
that's some real time shit right there. But yeah, it's really fun, the twists and turns it takes. Yeah, I recommend it. It's
in our backyard, Colorado Springs.
Oh. Yeah, your text to me during the week about that, I guess it was last week, because you couldn't tell whether or not Adam Driver's character at the end.
Well,
this, without spoiling it, you thought something happened with his character.
Well, yeah, the movie's really straightforward until the very last shot when he does his trademark people moving forward and their feet aren't moving, but the cameras,
because they're on the dolly. Yeah,
they're on the dolly.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to a burning cross, and then there's that enigmatic here's a guy in the hood, and then it's exposing his face a little bit, and it looks like someone from the movie. Or wait a minute, that just kind of throws everything I just watched on its head. So
because you think it's Adam Driver, again, I don't know, maybe go watch it again. But I having seen it twice, and just knowing the way that story went, there's no way in my mind that that's even remotely possible.
I'd have to read the book. I want to take the movie at face value, but it's that whole end part just kind of puts so many questions in my head.
I think it's honestly just some random KKK guy.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I'd hate to think that this was all.
Yeah, again, because
a deep cover thing.
Yeah, no. Driver's character was one of the amazing things about Driver's performance is that he has to kind of play up a couple different angles aside from
But he's so good at it.
Yeah,
is the thing.
Well, I understand.
Improv level 10.
Right, but it's. There's no way it would go down that road in my mind. Not having seen it. I don't know. I mean, read the book and then tell me.
What are you doing over there?
I was turning the monitor down so that way I can't hear you guys spoil the movie.
Oh.
But
I'm not the one who said Adam Driver at the end. Way to go, Zach.
But it came up with the phrase during our text, which was Ku Klux Kylo, because
God damn it.
Which I was just this feels wrong, but I've got to say it out loud because it's just convenient with the K's.
Zach, let the past die.
Burn it.
Kill it if you have to.
Yeah, okay. But cool. I'm glad you liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's try to go faster through this. I got on a Civil War kick, so I rewatched Lincoln, which I hadn't seen.
So did I.
I thought you
meant Avengers.
I got a Civil War kick, so I watch nothing but Iron Man movies.
Wow.
Wait, you watched Lincoln too?
Yeah, I watched Lincoln this week.
Let's save this for the end then.
Okay.
I rewatched Gettysburg.
It's a good one.
Cool.
Yeah, amazing movie. And it's the director's cut's on Blu-ray, so like it was already long, but it's probably like 4 hours now.
From Ted Turner Pictures. Or Turner Pictures.
It has a commentary track on it, but the disappointing part is it's very sporadic. Like the director and then I think some historian and someone else share the commentary track, and so there'll be like a scene, and then it'll go for like 30 or 45 minutes before someone jumps back in and says something.
I wonder if it's one where they recorded everybody separately,
Oh, yeah.
and then it's just scene specific then, because it's such a long movie.
But I'm sure like each of those people watch the whole thing, so it's like, can you at least like it's such a long stretch of nothing. Then like there's got to be something you could have thrown in there. Like why leave it blank if you
Especially
had 3 people talking about it? Yeah. Who's a big Civil War nerd?
Fun fact: the Civil War actually happened.
What you're seeing is real.
Based on true events.
Shit, what was I gonna say about that? Anyway, that's one of my favorites.
Have you ever seen the adjacent film for it, Gods and Generals?
I have. It's really boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's not as good.
And there's another one, Copperhead, that came out like 2013 that was like on the art house circuit that I missed. So if I can track it down, I'll
I've
watch
only
it.
seen Gettysburg and Gods and Generals.
My dad has a weird commemorative edition of both those movies in a big box.
Yeah.
It seems like a movie that would have a commemorative edition.
Yeah, because Ted Turner likes to deal with that part of history. He also really likes Gone with the Wind. He's weird.
I watched Walking Dead season 8. I really enjoyed it. I've read a lot of backlash online about it, but I think that like Rick and Negan have like this spy versus spy. Like they keep just attacking each other back and forth, which I think is actually really fun to watch.
It works better watching it like 24 when you can watch it.
Yeah, which is
straight,
what I did.
Because the one of my only complaints about lately Walking Dead is Eugene's character drives me crazy. He's always crying. He's always trying to get out of stuff, and he's always scared of Negan, and he always has those sobbing moments every time Negan confronts him. And it's just really obnoxious.
But I love his double cross. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I mean,
the only thing I don't like is how quickly Maggie has turned, like, and Daryl against him, against Rick. That's like, I guess she's upset, but you're gonna race like 7 seasons of like camaraderie over that one thing.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I don't know how you would rehabilitate Negan, so we'll see. Doesn't seem like he.
Well, we know Rick's stepping away this year. Is his last. I think he's only doing 6 or 7 episodes.
Yeah.
And then he's going to start directing them. So.
BoJack Horseman season 5 is great. Really gets into some things on depression and stuff, and then by the end it calls back to the previous season, and BoJack gets into some trouble. So that show's pretty smart.
It's one of those shows that's now people have taken notice because now I think they're showing reruns on Comedy Central.
Which it'd be interesting to watch because they have to edit it a little bit.
Yeah,
because there's like a robot made of dildos in this season, so
it'll just be pixelated across the screen like Muhammad on South Park.
Yeah. At Fantastic Fest, I watched a movie called Beverly Left Lynn, or An Evening with Beverly Left Lynn, from the guy who made the Greasy Strangler, which I didn't see. And that's just weird. Do you have a review? Do you have a review you want to do? You just talk over this whole thing?
So it's just weird?
It's just weird, yeah.
What kind of weird?
So everyone's acting intentionally like stilted and bizarre and like over the top whenever they want. Jermaine Clement is, I guess, a bounty hunter, but it feels like he just kind of decides to be it in the moment. And then Aubrey Plaza is the wife of a coffee shop owner who, like, his boss comes down and says, like, hey, you got to let some people go, or else I got to let you go. And then he decides, well, I'll just fire my wife. And then while she's laying around at home, she sees a commercial for An Evening with Beverly Left Lynn. And, at that part of the movie, it's like, oh, there's the secret past between the two. So she goes on this quest to, like, meet up with him at the hotel. And then her brother has, like, a cash box of cash. at his convenience store. And so her husband decides that he wants to go steal that cash, and he gets his buddies from the coffee shop to go steal it. And then Jermaine Clement steals that cash box and meets up with Aubrey Plaza. And then the rest of the movie, they're trying to meet up with Beverly Loughlin, who's played by Craig Robinson. And Craig Robinson's dialogue is just, And then you find out that he's part of a two-person band. And I think the boss from the IT crowd is his bandmate.
Okay.
Which probably makes sense because Jermaine Clement's in the movie. British guys. No, wait.
New Zealand.
Yeah,
New
sorry.
Zealand.
Foreigners, but yeah,
Yeah, and Craig Robinson has, like, stage fright. So the concert keeps getting delayed at the hotel. And that's about it. Like, and Jermaine Clement's character, like, instantly falls in love with Aubrey Plaza, and they have to share a room together. And she doesn't want to have anything to do with him, but she wants to use him to get closer to Craig Robinson. And, yeah, it's just... That's it.
I didn't follow any of that.
Yeah, it's just a bunch
That
of
just seems
silliness and
All right.
people acting bizarre and, weird costumes and...
Cool.
Yeah. And then Beetlejuice is playing at the Esquire midnight, and that's just really fun to watch with a crowd because it was packed, like almost sold out. But the thing that I haven't seen in a while, and the thing that I noticed, which I surprised I never noticed before, is how much it's like Batman '89.
How so?
It's got Batman in it.
So
Batman.
It's got Batman and a guy who wanted to be Batman in it.
Well, yeah, it's got Michael Keaton in it, but the part where the strip club shows up in the town model, and then Michael Keaton starts dancing towards it, I swear is like the same dance the Joker does when he's in the art museum.
Sure.
Just without the Prince music.
Yeah.
And then the finale is that Beetlejuice kidnaps a girl and tries to like take her away and marry her in this movie, which is like what happens to Vicky Vale in the cathedral. And then during that fight, his teeth get knocked out, and Alec Baldwin's teeth get knocked out and chattering on the ground in Beetlejuice in the finale. Yeah.
Weird. And Beetlejuice was after, was it 90?
Yeah, the year after.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting that Tim Burton reuses a lot of his same ideas?
I'm suspicious that Pee-wee comes out and is a hit, and then he's probably already in the middle of starting. Or no, the studio probably says like, "Cool, make your Beetlejuice idea, whatever."
Yeah.
I shall.
And then that's probably like a moderate hit, right?
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Cool, do this. We'll give you this Batman movie, which is like a huge important thing that." But he's inexperienced to do that, so he's probably just like, to get through making Batman, he's just like taking his own ideas and just repurposing them from the thing he just did.
Right. Yeah. That makes
Jack,
sense.
did you see this movie that I did called Beetlejuice? What's a Beetlejuice?
No, he's probably just choreographing like the Beetlejuice or the Nicholson scene. He's like,
Tim, why are you dancing weird?
Well, and it
Jack's like,
works.
how do you want me to dance, Tim? And like, well, there's one dance I know, and it's from the movie I just did.
Yeah.
Show me how to do it, Tim. Dance. And then he pulls out a gun on set.
Yeah, so I was like, wow, that's really similar.
So the audience helps make a better movie?
Yeah, like, first of all, they sort of start cheering at the credits, which is really funny.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was doing, obviously, like, Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton, and then it's just like, the lighting designer.
Yeah.
Because they're cheering so much.
Costume design, Colleen Atwood. Woo!
And then the Tally Me Banana scene comes on, and there's like some dude behind us that was so into that song, like he was like singing along with it, and like the crowd was laughing at it. He was also like really drunk, so.
Was this the same guy that paid for your?
Yeah, it was. So yeah, I was like waiting in the line for concessions for a long time. Finally got to the counter, and all of a sudden this dude just like bumps me from behind, and then he's kind of like swaying a bit, and like, okay, cool, whatever, don't initiate contact with him. And then I'm in the middle of my transaction, and the dude just like, hey, can I get a hot dog, like, to them? And the cashier is just like, yeah, sure, dude, but you got to get in the back of the line or whatever. And I'm just like, fuck it, I'll buy his hot dog. And he's probably not even here for the movie, right? And then he's like, oh, cool, thanks, man. You know what? I want to buy your stuff. And so he bought all my concessions instead and tried to buy me a hot dog, but I didn't want one. So
I was like, I got a hot dog for you. Meet me in the men's room.
Yeah.
Terrible.
So yeah. And then at the drive-in, the third movie was Searching.
Right.
Which is that
John
Cho movie. His daughter disappears and they have to try and track her down. It all takes place on like a computer monitor, and that was really good.
Cool.
The end was a little like suspension of disbelief of like, I don't know why. Based on how it ends, I don't know why the thing that happens right before it would even be necessary, but they tried to make it more dramatic than it needed to be. But everything leading up to that is like, yeah, it takes place on this. The whole movie takes place on a screen, but they do like really interesting things to vary it up, where like they actually zoom into stuff. You know, it's not just like windows popping up and the movie's just sitting on the shot the whole time, right?
Yeah.
Like they zoom into things. They move the camera around. Later, there's like some security cam footage, so you know it's not just like pop-up windows. It's you're watching, and then it goes to other people's laptops. So like the police have computers, so you see their version of what they're seeing of John Cho's interactions and stuff, and then you know there's cell phone interactions. So those get displayed, like he plays them back. And the really cool thing about all that is that the attention to detail on how people interact with social media. They spend a lot of time focusing on like those little details of like, you know, he'll be thinking of something to say and like write a whole paragraph and then delete it, you know, because he has like changes his thought and stuff like that. Or and it also helps with how like you really feel like you're thinking what John Cho's thinking like at all times.
Yeah.
You know, he'll go to close a window and then like just hold it there and you realize, oh, he's thinking about something. And then you realize that he's, you know, something in the background of a photo he's looking at suddenly like got his attention.
Yeah.
So I thought it was really good. So you should definitely check it out.
That's cool.
Except for the end is a little like, oh, I don't know why that needed to play out that way. It just seems a little forced.
Is the end that it just like cuts to the blue screen of death and then just sits there?
Actually, so the setup is that his wife had some form of cancer. And so for like, I think 4 or 5 years leading up to the movie, you see his like daughter growing up with his mom who's in and out of treatment, eventually dies. And so, you know, their background is they have this disconnect of like, they haven't really addressed it between each other, the death as much.
Yeah.
Like she's struggling with it and he's struggling with it, but they're not struggling together.
Yeah.
So, but like the operating system on the computer is like also like Windows XP. And so there's like different, you know, chimes and eventually later on in the movie, he has to go back to an old computer to get information. So they even like the attention to detail is like really superb.
That's cool. Neat.
Yeah. And the last 2 things I watched was Zach. So,
okay.
which is Lincoln, I guess, and Slice.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's right.
So Lincoln first?
Yeah, let's do Lincoln.
Since it'll be short.
I don't know if you know this, but Daniel Day-Lewis is an amazing actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Some might say that was the best film of that year.
Probably.
Of many. There were many good films that year.
Yeah, but one of them was Lincoln.
I mean, was that? That's not the first time you had seen it, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
I watched it in theater. But I hadn't watched it. I think I watched it one more time after that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not something I go to regularly. But just like,
got a bug up your butt to do it?
No, it's just I've been going through like a little starved on online stuff, so I've just been going through my shelf and watching stuff, and it's just like, you know what, I haven't watched Lincoln in a while.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's just really good. There's some unsung thing that I'm suddenly blanking on that I want to talk about, but what was it? I went through the special features. Forget it. Shit. Oh wait, no, I didn't talk about Blacklist season 5 because I know Corinne really wants to know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So.
Is he your dad? That's all I care about.
Or is it that
I don't even want to watch the
we
show.
were trying to talk about?
I don't even want to watch the show. I just want to know, is he your dad?
I mean, the last season made you think that he is her dad. I still think he is her dad, despite what Corinne says. But I have to rewatch because... So season 4, he got the DNA. He got a DNA test on himself against his will, right?
Where is Maury Povich? Like, How do we just solve this show? This show doesn't need 6
You're
seasons.
saving him for the series finale.
I guess I should say if you follow the blacklist and don't want me to spoil it for you, because I don't know how to talk about any of this stuff without spoiling at this point.
Sure.
I know you don't care, so
No, I only care about...
We're recording this right now, so anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know, just jump ahead like 5 minutes on your streaming device or whatever.
Right.
So the finale of this suggests that, you know the briefcase from last season with the bones in it?
No, I didn't watch it. I just want to know if he's her dad.
I mean, I don't know. I say yes because the bones in last season there's a suitcase full of bones that Red Reddington does not want.
See, this is better than watching the show.
Red Reddington doesn't want anyone to know
about the bones in his suitcase.
Bones. Yeah, so he's trying to track because
it's like Spider-Man Clone Saga.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Kaplan in last season wronged him, so he had her killed. She came back as like the supervillain, trying to break down Red Reddington's criminal empire. Succeeds at it, makes him destitute. Still is able to get revenge on her, but she dug up the bones, put them in a suitcase, and so they're floating around the criminal underworld. Reddington is trying to track them down. Tom Keene finds out about it. And so he's after them. And so the last season ends thinking like, oh, he's still like a double operative trying to get the bones and, destroy Reddington, right?
Does anybody know who the bones are?
So at the end
Why
of
does
this
everybody
season,
want these bones?
we find out the bones are Red Reddington's bones.
Okay.
So
he's not Red Reddington.
I think that Red Reddington is a spy who was not good at it.
Maybe he's a clone.
And Red Reddington killed him early in his career.
Gotcha.
Assumed that identity and rose to be the criminal mastermind that Red Reddington everyone knows to be.
Couldn't he have just buried those bones somewhere and not told anybody?
He did. But the only people he probably told were Dembe and Mr. Kaplan.
Oh, sure, you would.
So when Mr. Kaplan turned on him, the bones got released, right?
Gotcha. The bones were released.
Yes.
Release the bones.
So this season ends with, he tracks down the bones and burns them, but now we know that Reddington is just an alias, and he is someone else, who I still think is
her dad. You still think he physically is her dad?
Bluington's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they did the DNA test. Corinne says the DNA came from a blood rag that wasn't from James Spader. So after we watched the season to double check, but it just seems weird that it wouldn't be, given all the narrative they've built up so far that, he may not be her dad, and then they finally get around to it seems pretty obvious that he cares about her so much to go through all this shit to protect her that he wouldn't be her dad.
Did he ever bone her mom? See what I did?
Yeah.
Also,
Elizabeth has a sister who's played by what's his name from Chucky?
Chucky.
The voice.
Brad Dourif.
Brad Dourif. Yeah, his daughter.
Fiona
Dourif
is a sister, I think, from another mother, and so Elizabeth finds out that Red is not.
I don't even know.
Also, Elizabeth is operating the assumption that, because she knows what the bones are too, so she's throughout the season she's been building up. She has an awesome episode where she, after Tom dies, she goes to the woods and just becomes like a badass, training on her own. She gets, the show deviates from the storyline, and there's a rogue, black ops group that's trying to track someone again. They stumble onto her cabin, and they're actually bad guys, and she has to take them down Home Alone style. And it's pretty awesome.
Okay.
And violent. So anyway, by the end of the season, she realizes that Red's been playing her, or we don't know, maybe not, but she thinks she is, and she teams up with her half sister, who has disavowed him also, and she's pissed off at him.
So Brad, every time you explain something, you go, "And this is what happened."
Because there's so much different.
I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. Who is her dad? I just think it's amazing how convoluted that show has gotten.
Darth Vader.
Yeah.
Darth Vader's her dad.
I just don't know why Spader would be going through all this trouble if he wasn't.
She should have the bones sent to Maury Povich to find out if the bones are her dad.
You don't have to.
Or David Boreanaz.
It's clear.
Or David Boreanaz.
No, they
maybe.
do a DNA test. It's Red Reddington's bones. We just don't know.
But
who that guy really
is Red Reddington her dad?
The name.
I asked that question the way I did intentionally. I know. I'm just saying. Maury Povich should save everyone in that show.
Yeah.
He should show up with a gun from the woods because he's a badass, and be like, "You are not the father."
I don't remember how long the blacklist is supposed to be, but I'm pretty sure at this point, and I mean it's got to be. You're the writer, you would know. Red Reddington is number 1 on the blacklist that he is running, right? And then he is probably going through all this to track down the number 2 guy on the list, because he's the one who burned their house down in season 1.
Okay.
Or I guess in the past, but it's shown in season 1. And Elizabeth is number 3, and by the end, she's actually going to have to take down Red for the finale.
Red.
Yeah, after he takes out number 2.
Not dead Red, but real live Red.
And she's being trained. This whole scheme is to train her to be his replacement.
Sounds great.
I think instead we should go with Ryan's suggestion, and his final adversary is Blue Bluington, played by Robert Downey Jr. to create a less than zero reunion of such epic proportions that NBC cannot contain it on the small screen. It must be on IMAX.
And then it becomes the RGB list.
Yes.
And Green Greenington jumps in.
Green Greenington.
He's the new villain.
These names are so genius, it's scary. Copyright Real Nerds Podcast on Blue Bluington.
No, we don't need that one.
So we watched
don't need
Slice.
that copyright. You guys can have that one.
What was that?
We watched Slice.
Yes, it did.
We
did watch
moving
Slice.
along.
Fun movie. Fun, silly movie.
Yeah.
About a town of ghosts and werewolves and witches.
What's interesting is that
and a pizza parlor.
Yeah, what's interesting is that the
sounds like a sitcom.
Yeah,
it was one.
Werewolves, witches, and a pizza parlor.
The idea and the universe they create for it is surprisingly well thought out. The execution, I'm not sure about because it looks like one of those late 80s / early 90s VHS tapes that Ryan was referring to earlier, where the artwork looks cool, but the film itself might not look so great. But I think they're aware of what kind of movie they're making, and it's also really funny. So, yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Paul Scheer is the best part of it.
So when they say all you can eat pizza at the Alamo, they bring you like the carnivore continuously?
Don't even talk to me about it right now.
Yeah,
I'm so annoyed.
Yeah, he had a bad experience with it.
Was it just like cheese pizza?
No. I was surprised because past all you can eats have been like either cheese or pepperoni. But as soon as we got in, the girl taking the order from the people behind us said like, "No, it's any pizza on the menu." I'm like, jackpot.
This is all I ever wanted.
Lucifers all night. But we were there. I think half an hour early.
Yeah,
didn't get served until the movie started. Mm-hmm. I mean, not served, but taken.
We weren't.
Yeah,
we weren't like late, but we were like 15 minutes. So like
we were early.
Yeah,
plenty
we were
early.
We were there in time.
We didn't walk in 5 minutes. And
Yeah,
you can only be so early.
Exactly. So, but anyway, they only had one server in that theater, and that theater was not small.
Well,
one server.
And the problem
crowd.
is, if you don't make it only pepperoni or cheese or sausage, then they can't. They're not just in the back making those, and they can bring them immediately. So like. Yeah, you're going to order it when the movie starts, get your pizza an hour later, and then never get a chance to get more pizza.
So my first instinct is like, okay, on my first order, I'm going to order 2 pizzas.
Right.
Get a jump on this thing. The girl tells me, y'all, you can only do it one at a time. I'm like, great. This is what's going to happen. And it does. So the order takes about 30 minutes to 45 for the first pizza to come out. Because, again, one person, understaffed. It's an Alamo Draft House screening.
Put up a card as soon as she left with your order for the second pizza so that when she brought the first one, you placed your order for the second one?
I thought about it, but I was like, that's a little too early. So after the new pizza comes, I do that.
Nah. Yeah.
And then that order doesn't get picked up till 20 minutes after that, and then I think my last pizza came, my second pizza came, I think 10 minutes before the movie ended.
Oh.
So it felt like it was gamed that way. So you couldn't order a ton of pizza. So
well, the movie's also short too. If it was a longer movie, might have had a better chance.
Yeah, it's
wait a second. You got 2 pizzas.
I was
How
going
many
for
pizzas are you gonna eat?
I could have eaten more.
All right.
Well, Does this sound like a man who had all he could eat? And when you couldn't get your all-you-could-eat pizza, what'd you do after that?
'Tis not a real nerd. 'Tis a soulless eating machine.
You drove around all night looking for an all-you-can-eat pizza place, huh?
'Tis a remorseless eating machine.
And
I got on my scooter,
And now
I turned into a werewolf,
we can
and I tracked down anyone with a pizza.
we can still hear his cries in the night of the headless man who didn't get enough pizza.
I'm not officially accusing Steve of like gaming the system against us.
No, I know.
But it just as
Probably
an
wasn't
experience,
Steve.
it felt like I was like
Well, next time, just
handicapped
do
from
exactly
pursuing
what
my
James
dream.
said. As soon as they take your one order, just put the next one up there.
Yeah.
I feel like she would just come back and be like, "Oh, sir, too early."
Well, she said
you have to wait until you finish eating the first one too.
Well, she said you can only order them one at a time.
Yeah.
So if she takes your order and you put another one up,
You
that's
just
a new
you
order.
just want to make sure when they bring you the pizza, they take the order then.
Yeah.
I feel like she still would have said like, "No, you have to wait until you're finished with the
So,
first one to order another
In
one."
Idaho Springs, they have this place where you can on Mondays they have all-you-can-eat ribs, and they only let you get 4 ribs at a time.
Right.
But when they bring them out, then you like kind of slowly eat one. You're like, I'll take more ribs when you get a second.
Yeah.
And it's like 10 minutes later, they come out with more ribs. You know what you're done with by that time? Your 4 ribs.
So the movie.
Wait! I need to know how we order pizzas again. Can we go through this one more time? No, yeah. Like I said, the movie, like, it's funny. It's just, it's made a certain way. I don't know if that has anything to do with the release strategy they ended up going with, because Steve said one thing via the statement from A24, but watching it, I felt like it would have been difficult to release this theatrically regardless of that decision, because it's funny, but it's for a niche audience.
I think the finale is so rushed too.
Yeah,
And,
well,
like,
yeah.
There's a lot of build up, and then
There's a lot of ideas that come to mention in the third act that don't necessarily pay themselves off. But I don't know, maybe were they thinking sequel?
it also feels like a dissection of the genre too. So there's that, like, especially like Zazie Beetz' I think second to last like killing line.
Oh yeah,
it's like so goofy and like ripped off from something I can't remember, but
she's really good in it. Chance the Rapper's pretty good in it too. I think he knows what kind of movie he's making. He's a great line where he's just like, no, I'm handsome. Like, I can't remember the setup for it, but Gal who played the journalist is pretty cool. The guys who played the cops were funny. Paul Scheer and the
comic relief for sure.
Yeah, Paul Scheer.
Paul Scheer's always funny.
Yeah, you went into the haunted basement. Why'd you do that, stupid?
Yeah, he gets all the winks to the cameras,
And also Chris Parnell plays the mayor of the town, and his hobby is drawing naked women's breasts, and he just talks to the paintings as if though they're his friends,
and they're critiquing him.
Oh, your pair is the best pair, madam.
They give you the biggest areolas.
Yeah, and when he tries to put a cloth over it to hide it, the boobs are the only thing that are showing, and then but the head's covered. It's pretty fucking funny.
The other weird thing was that one shot of like when the witches are meeting, and they're like, they have the conversation. They're like, but there's also this person on our side, and the girl walks through the door, but she's like cut off from the waist up, and you're like.
Well,
and then it cuts to the next scene, and you're like, well, who was that person? And it turns out it was just the girl from the pizza parlor.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty obvious early on, though.
I didn't think it was obvious. I was just like, oh, because the next scene that they're together, she's just in the scene. I'm like, oh, I guess she was that girl.
Yeah, but
there's no ceremonious like reveal, like hello.
It felt pretty obvious to me because they were just like they were alluding to like she's the only one in that pizza parlor that does not like Zazie Beetz. I'm like, okay, she's gonna be a villain somehow. I can tell. Or at least I'm having a strong feeling for that. One of my favorite lines comes from one of the side witches when she's getting out of the car to walk toward the pizza parlor, going like, "Do this, Debbie. Do that, Debbie. I'm the best witch in the world, Debbie." I just laughed my butt off at that line. But yeah, no, it's interesting and fun.
I like how they portray the ghosts. Like,
oh yeah.
They're just
in this world, ghosts aren't projection or like done the way you'd normally do them. They just look like they're dead.
They're just regular people with white face paint.
Yeah, with white face paint essentially. Yeah, it's
and ratty clothes.
It's really creative. I enjoyed it. Yeah, on that front. But yeah, no, Slice. I liked watching it on a big screen. Like, I can at least say we were among the few people that got to do it. Cause,
It's a good party movie. Pizza Party's the way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Cool.
Right on.
Until next week.
Zach,
Oh,
what else?
Well, I watched Lincoln, and I did want to chat a little bit about it because I'm.
Oh my God, Zach!
Because I didn't get to chat about it. He did.
I barely. You talked over me.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Zach. What do you have to say about Lincoln?
Just that the more that I watch that, the more that kind of keeps switching back and forth between that and Saving Private Ryan is my favorite Spielberg film. Because like every time I watch it, I'm going like, wow, I really like Spielberg's work in Saving Private Ryan because it's groundbreaking to show that D-Day sequence and then the rest of the film. But Lincoln has a lot of layers going into it, and it's shot beautifully, and it's written beautifully, and the performances are all good across the board.
It's a masterpiece.
That's probably my favorite cast out of any Spielberg movie is that film because it's got these great New York actors combined with these great film actors just like colliding into one little room, and it's just fucking wonderful.
Yeah.
And the scene where Joseph Gordon-Levitt goes to with Lincoln down to the hospital, and he sees the pit or the hole full of severed limbs, and it's really good. And Tommy Lee Jones again, great in that film, playing that abolitionist character is pretty fucking amazing. But yeah, I rewatched The Grand Budapest Hotel this week because I know Wes Anderson bug up my butt, and I still think that's
gross.
Very symmetrical.
Yeah, it's a very symmetrical bug up my ass. I mean, I still think that is my favorite of his films. It used to be Darjeeling Limited, and now it's been this one over the past couple of years because that film hits you like a big ton of emotional bricks all throughout it while still being a whimsical murder mystery Wes Anderson-y type movie. I need the criterion of that like today because the version they have out now is bare bones.
I like To Now more.
I do too.
What?
Keep going. You're good.
I know I misspoke. Anyway. I rewatched Fantastic Mr. Fox on Criterion because I picked that up.
It's a good one.
That's one that I love going back to. I every time I went to it in the theater back in 2009, it was almost empty. Like there was no one going. The Criterion's awesome though because they show footage of the actors in that environment. Like because he recorded their voiceover part of it in the actual environment that they'd be in as the characters. So there's video footage of George Clooney running around a field doing the Mr. Fox dialogue, looking like a lunatic, and it's pretty fucking amazing. And then they show him directing Wes Anderson directing Bill Murray in the recording booth, and it is pretty fucking awesome to watch that footage.
Pretty cussing awesome.
Oh, yeah, don't you cuss at me. But yeah, I enjoy it, and it's a brisk fucking watch of 80 minutes. Like it's pretty
brisk cussing watch.
You know, I get it. You love Wes Anderson more than me. But yeah, I'm continuing the Universal Monster kick, so I watched The Invisible Man Returns with Vincent Price as the new Invisible Man. That's the film I was referring to where when I saw it as a kid, it was one of those ones you had to get at VHS in the library. They didn't have it at Blockbuster. And I remember like loving the shit out of it. This time watching it though, we can put this to rest. Claude Rains is the one with the highest body count in that universe. They claim he killed hundreds in Invisible Man Returns, and it's all canon, so he didn't just kill what we thought, Ryan.
So
he killed way more.
He's killed like half of 1,000 people.
I think he killed the entire British island.
Love it.
But this film is about the brother of Claude Rains' character has been kind of developing the serum too, and his friend, played by Vincent Price, is framed for murder and is about to be put to death, but then he sneaks the invisible serum into Vincent Price in prison, and he escapes. And it's about Vincent Price's character trying to clear his name before he goes too mad because the doctor's got to create an antidote in time. He doesn't kill anybody in it, so he's more of just like Vincent Price walking around terrifying people. There is one moment, though, where he's terrifying a guy who has knowledge of the actual murder in a forest, and he's just kind of smacking him around throughout the forest. It's pretty fucking awesome for the time. The visual effects in Invisible Man Returns are easily better than the first one, and that's just because of time passing by, and the way you can improve those effects. And it's pretty quick, but I would say I still like the first Invisible Man way more. But it's fun to watch Vincent Price be in that movie. Although, whenever he's wearing those bandages, you can barely hear a fucking word he says. It sounds like Tom Hardy as Bane. Because like every time he's invisible and you can't see him, he sounds perfectly clear Vincent Price, like, I'm Egghead. But the minute he puts those bandages on, it just sounds like, oh my God, listen to me, I'm Vincent Price. I can't hear a fucking word he's saying. Even the sound on the beautifully restored box set that I paid my money for, none of that technology can save the fact that it was him going, oh, I'm the Invisible Man. So, yeah, but fun film. I'm going to keep going with the binge. I think The Wolfman's next on the list. So, and that's a great one.
51, I think.
What?
Came out 51?
41.
41?
41,
The Wolfman, yeah.
This was because it was the war era monster. You see, because allegories and stuff. And then, lastly, I've been trying to pick up a writing project again that I keep going on and off with, of trying to write a Jack Benny kind of story. So I watched some of his shows, and I watched an episode of his show where he hung out with President Harry S. Truman. And that one's pretty adorable because I'm like, Harry S. Truman's trying to act. It's cute. You were an actual good leader, but you couldn't act. But you could play the piano really well. And then I watched one with Gary Cooper hanging out with Jack, and that one's pretty fun because the setup is that Jack's trying to audition to be Gary Cooper's twin brother in a new movie that Gary Cooper's making, but he's obviously too short, so he comes in with like extensions on his shoes, and then the whole intention is he's got to audition for it, and the actual audition is for a twin brother who's going to take a lot of stunt abuse, and there's just this series of watching a stuntman getting the shit kicked out of him all within the span of like 3 different cutaway shots. So it's like it only cuts to 3 different angles. And so like you just start seeing like these chairs flying at him, punch all over the place, being like kicked around a set that keeps knocking down. And then the final like shot is of 3 chairs all hitting this stuntman at once. And I was just like, fuck, like I have more respect for stuntmen of that era because that no matter how much safety is involved, that's just straight up abuse, But the joke of it is that Jack's watching this and he realizes, oh my gosh, like this is going to be difficult. And then when they say he's up next to audition, he gets on his knees so that he's not tall enough to be Gary Cooper's twin and walks off stage. And it's adorably funny. But
why didn't you have Ronald Reagan do it?
What?
Instead of Truman, why didn't you have Ronald Reagan do it? He's the actor.
Because Ronald Reagan wasn't president at that point. This show was from 58, bud.
I know. I'm just saying.
Ronald Reagan was still an actor too. So,
just saying.
The point was
Truman was stilted.
You wanted, but you want the publicity of saying I had Harry S. Truman on my show.
I get it.
Just
saying.
I know. You want. Oh boy.
That's the way how life shakes out.
But extending out into that, I was just like, I want to watch one of Jack's films, and luckily I'd got one from Warner Archives called George Washington Slept Here, which is easily the 3rd best film he ever made. It's about a play where a wife buys a house in the in the countryside of New York, and the claim is that George Washington slept here during the Revolutionary War. And the goal of the whole movie is for them to try to rebuild the house and redesign it, and shenanigans happen along the way. It's pretty much that Mr. Blandings builds his dream house thing. But like the twists and turns in it are kind of fun. The biggest twist in the film, because you guys aren't going to watch it, is that it's not a house that George Washington slept in; it's one that Benedict Arnold slept in, and which makes sense to the fact which makes sense to the fact that shitty things are happening all around that house, including like invasions of Japanese beetles and 17-year locusts, and amongst other things, the roof caving in on them half the time. But Jack's great in it. It's got Ann Sheridan in it playing the wife, and she's wonderful. The film is a series of Jack Benny trying to be a pratfall actor, and it's just that's the only part of it that bugs me because I'm just like, this is not your strong suit at all. But there is one great shot of like he's carrying a bunch of clothing and like suitcases in his arms, and he's walking up the stairs, but it cuts so that it's a stuntman, and he's walking up the stairs. And you can tell it's a stuntman now, but I'm sure back in the day they couldn't.
like Venom when Eddie Brock's riding a motorcycle bad, or
No. But I mean, just his. I'm just gonna say it bluntly. His ass looks bigger than Jack's. But he's walking up the stairs.
Yep.
Yeah, I said it. He's walking up.
It took me a second to process it.
He's walking up the stairs, and then you hear off screen a crash through, and then it's supposed to be one continuous shot. And it looks pretty cool for the time, but obviously there's better ways to do it now. But it's interesting to know that they were trying to do fun, like all-in-one shot techniques like that in terms of how you stage stuff and have the actor that you want to have appear in the later frame already kind of muffed up and post-accident.
Did you know those old East Coast colonial houses, all the doorways are like a foot shorter because people from the 1700s were like a foot shorter?
I did not know that, no.
Yeah.
That's pretty interesting.
They didn't have good food then.
That's actually another interesting thing about this film, though. Even though it's like it's not like a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination, but the production design on this film is fucking beautiful. They drew the hell out of those boards to get that design right. So, but yeah, I'd recommend it if you can get it off of Warner Archive or Amazon. It's a pretty funny flick. It's got Hattie McDaniel in it from Gone with the Wind too, so that's pretty neat. But she's not really
Academy Award winner.
Yeah, sorry, Academy Award winner Hattie McDaniel, first African American to ever win an Oscar. It's pretty awesome. But yeah, that's all I watched this week.
James?
Cool. I finished watching Godless on Netflix, which is great.
Was the spoiler that they became godful?
No, you should just watch it. It's really good. Like
That's all you watched?
Yeah. I mean, I've watched other stuff. I rewatched Drive and stuff, but nothing to talk about. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I think Godless is a great little miniseries. So if you like westerns, you should check it out. I think Michelle Dockery is great. So
okay, I watched North by Northwest because I'm still doing Cary Grant stuff.
Yeah.
He's really great in that film. He's very good at being silly in a very serious film.
He's good at levity.
Yeah, see, and I think that's why he was such a great leading man for 30, 40 years, is he kind of kept, even if he was in a serious film, he was still pretty silly, and he could carry it very well.
That's one of those movies that I feel like the HD actually does it a disservice, because when you get to the end, like the cutting or on the effects at the end, you're like, oh, man.
Even in all Hitchcock films, I don't know how many you've seen in HD, but he loved like the back screen of them driving and stuff, and it's pretty jarring. Yeah, you just got to go with the. I mean, in this one, the performance is funny because he's supposed to be drunk while he's driving, but it's
at
funny.
least I can even notice it though on the DVDs. There's rear projection on the George Washington one, and it doesn't look that great either.
Yeah.
You know?
The film in itself is a masterpiece, so definitely check out North by Northwest. I saw Simple Favor last week. We did the film Explosion instead. That was a great film. I loved Anna Kendrick's character. She was really funny, and she played it really well because she also had this little bit of sinister to it.
Yeah.
That maybe she wasn't projecting what she was putting forth. Maybe she purposely did all this stuff, and maybe she was the real bad guy because how fast she fell in love with the husband.
But Henry Golding from Crazy Rich Asians.
Yeah, but when you see how it plays out, nope, she's just a really nice lady.
So good.
Oh, is that spoilers?
And the best detective of the year.
Well, yeah, that's spoilers.
Yeah, it's spoilers. But the film's great. Blake Lively's really good in it.
Yeah.
It's a really good film. I think everyone should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's fun. It's like it's a lighthearted version of an over serious genre. Like,
not to force it, but if we can get another film with Anna Kendrick playing that character, I would totally watch it.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Character.
Yeah. Oh, just Paul Feig doing that same kind of movie.
Because I mean, they set it up. What I don't want to say it, but
yeah.
I mean, they set up a sequel.
Exactly. Yeah.
A simple sequel.
The Simple Trilogy.
The Simple Trilogy. So yeah, you should check it out.
Simple Cinematic Universe.
She teams up with Ben Affleck from Gone Girl.
Oh shit!
I've been going through my Scream Factory library. I finally got to C's. I thought I was already at C's, but I moved them and I skipped over some. So I watched Bubba Hotep again. That movie's pretty fun.
Yeah.
The performances in Bubba Hotep are great.
Yeah.
15th anniversary this year, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
That sounds about right.
I think Ossie Davis says John F. Kennedy is amazing, and Bruce Campbell as Elvis is. I think his name is Sebastian in the film, but playing Elvis is pretty fun. I mean, the movie's ridiculous. If you don't know what it is, it's Elvis and an African American who thinks he's John F. Kennedy because they dyed his skin, living in a retirement home where a mummy called Bubba Hotep is basically sucking the life out of people, and no one pays any attention because they're old people and they think they die anyways. And so Elvis and JFK team up to fight a mummy in their wheelchairs. It's a fun film. Brought to you by the guy who did Phantasm. So it's fun. I also watched Carrie, which the original one from Brian De Palma, and he is really. I haven't seen it in a really long time, but watching it again and watching Dress to Kill a few months ago, he really loves the perverse women showering scenes, and I totally forgot that about both the films.
Because he loves Hitchcock.
Yeah.
He really loves Hitchcock.
He does, but he does it really gratuitously by showing women's privates and boobs constantly. But Carrie Into Itself is actually a pretty good film. I mean, I think it borders on great horror. Because the horror doesn't really come till the very end.
I think, part of it also, the horror is just Carrie's mom. Like, it's more of a psychological affair until that last part.
Yeah, and I mean, I actually like, too, the remake with Chloe Grace Moretz. I'm doing that right. I always mix her name up.
Wow.
You were going to say Mertz, weren't you?
No, it's usually Chloe Grace Moretz. But you conquered it.
Yeah,
you did it.
I did it. I think that remake's pretty strong. This film, it's shot really well, and I think De Palma's really good at staging shots. I mean, the part where she gets the blood dropped on her, I forgot how much tension that builds.
Which when I watched it earlier this year, like it blended for me a thought of like, oh, this is definitely of its era in terms of how it's pacing, like that slow mo. But then I'm also like, God, this is like, is it gonna fall on her?
Yeah, well, and it's because they set up too that one of the girls set her up too, but she was actually trying to help Carrie.
Yeah.
And it's pretty great.
The one that's not PJ Souls or the other girl.
Yeah.
I can't remember the other girls. I just know PJ Souls is the one that's not so active but chewing bubble gum.
Yeah, always wearing a baseball hat. So you should check it out. Scream Factory has a really great Blu-ray where it's about 3.5 hours of the making of the film.
It's a 2-disc set.
It's a 2-disc, and so the second disc is just interviews with tons of people involved. It's pretty good. I also watched Contamination Point 7. I'm sorry, Contamination Point 7, which is a horrible film. It's a film about toxic waste leaking into the forest, and the roots from the trees kill everybody.
Okay.
And it's really slow, and the acting is really bad.
Where did it come from? Is it like
Me, I directed it. That's why he hates it so much.
Yes, and it has old-time radio shit in it. No, there's a nuclear power plant on the edge of the forest that this doctor is purposely dumping toxic waste into, and then there's another doctor who solved the mystery while the plants are killing people in town.
Well, he shouldn't backstab the other doctor.
And these kids, well, when I say kids, these 20-year-old people find this dead body, and they go see the sheriff, and the sheriff goes, "I'm tired of you kids doing that cocaine." That's how stilted. Killing what? Okay, perfect. Yes. And so it's that, and that's really a line, and he delivers it like that. I'm tired of you kids on the cocaine. All right, and it's bad. What, buddy? Okay. And yeah, so
when do you sit down and have the talk with him about how a podcast works? What age? What age is that?
Well,
when a man and a microphone.
So
love
he's
each
at
other
an
very
age right
much.
now where he wants everyone to pay attention to him. He's even doing a thing now where when we eat, he won't eat unless we say, "Hey, buddy, you need to eat right now," and he'll start eating.
Right.
It's really bizarre. But we're not special. All kids are goofy.
Yeah, my sister's kids at that point too.
Yeah, just he's telling me nothing, but he needs me to know what he's doing.
That's the name of your parenting base. All kids are goofy.
We were just talking about this.
All right. But, I can't get too mad at him. He is playing Army of Darkness Defense, and he's on wave like 43, and it's really hard, but he's like crushing it. So keep up the good work, buddy.
Did you take him to see Venom with you?
No.
Because someone at my theater did.
Oh, there were like 2 8-year-olds in our row.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, I think that's all I watched. I can't remember anything else. But Contamination is .7 is garbage. And I think that's my next
Contamination
No, I have
point. Shit.
So I put 3 of them together for my Scream Factory crypt this week. I might do the same because I have Cat People, Catacombs, and Cellar Dweller at next. Cellar Dweller and Catacombs are in a one disc too.
Sounds like Cat People would be much more fun to
Cat
talk
People
about.
is actually a pretty fun film.
Yeah, it's Schrader's.
Actually, I really like Cellar Dweller too. If you like cheesy horror films, Catacombs is not good.
I need to watch The Burning this week, by the way, because I do want to
check it out.
to you. Yeah.
Yep, that's what I watched this week. I don't think I forgot anything.
Because I forgot, I rewatched since the theater, Alien vs. Predator 2.
Requiem.
I like that movie a lot because the violence is awesome.
Yeah.
And I wish you could take the dialogue and characters from The Predator and merge it with the violence. Although violence in The Predator is pretty good too, but it's more it feels more like the original series.
Yeah, it's almost like you want the dialogue and the characters from The Predator, but you actually want the plot from Alien vs. Predator of just like, there's monsters in a town, everyone's dying, we have to kill them.
Yeah,
like,
on the planet from Predators.
You know, it's
Robert
interesting
Rodriguez
too.
is
I
one.
really like the second Alien vs. Predator, but it's
the characters suck. But
but a lot of people hate it. I think it's the lowest rated Predator film, like critic and audience on Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, that's silly. There's a movie called Predator 2.
Oh no, Predator 2 is pretty fun.
Let me tell you about Jamaicans. Anyway, yeah, great.
Dread.
Let's get into it.
Truly dread. This week on Real Nerds Podcast, we saw Venom. Zach, should people go see Venom?
That's the stupidest question I've ever fucking heard in my life.
Wow.
No, I mean, I try to really be kind to all films because it's hard to make a movie. I have very little sympathy for anyone involved in this because it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. I did not like handing over my money for this. The one thing I will give it is that it is not unwatchable.
So, Zach, is this
terrible.
Forrest Gump bad for you, or?
I never said I hated Forrest Gump. I said I don't like Forrest Gump. There's a difference between hate and like.
Yeah, both wrong. He's so incessant about call it out on Forrest Gump. Anyways, go ahead.
But no, I mean, I don't know. Like it's watchable, but it's the same way. Like it's fun to watch train crashes and stuff. And I never thought I'd want to see Tom Hardy eat that badly, but apparently I did. The end credits song is kind of like the capper on a bunch of weirdness. I don't recommend it at all.
I expected more carnage.
Venom. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it because I have a lot of thoughts about this, especially depending on whether we're recording it on Saturday, and depending on what I hear tomorrow about box office receipts will determine whether.
Million.
Yeah, but is that going to be enough for them? Like, is it going to sustain?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's get to the spoiler part.
They make these movies even though they shouldn't. So yes, 80 million will be
like I
enough.
said, I'll talk about it after the trailer.
Yeah.
Brad, should people go see Venom?
So I just looked at my fantasy movie league, and I'm glad to be in number one, but obviously my third and fourth lineups were the better ones. I actually had a lot of fun with this movie. I would watch it again just because I think Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock and struggling with another thing inside his head is so entertaining to watch.
Yeah.
The rest of it is just like, okay, here's a standard, like, we got to stop the villain movie. So that's the only... and then there's like... there's one bit of dialogue that was so frustrating that I'll talk about later. But other than that, like, you go see this movie because Tom Hardy is great in it as a Jekyll and Hyde character. And then...
that is...
I'd say it's worth a watch for that. And then some of the tie-ins to the rest of the Sony Spider-Man universe that you'll run into.
Yeah.
No Spider-Man, though.
No
James.
Spider-Man. I mean, people should... I think this movie's pretty fun for, having been made in 2001. Now, unfortunately, in 2018, this movie's pretty terrible. So, no one should see this movie. I would agree. I think Tom Hardy's really great. I think he's great in spite of the movie, and we'll talk about this later, but, like, I actually think that he probably was pissing everyone else on set off by not doing what they told him to, and that's why his performance is great and everything else is trash. Like, it's bad. But the most embarrassing thing is the end credit song from Eminem, because of everyone involved, Eminem should know better.
Oscar-winning songwriter Eminem.
Yeah. Like, oh my gosh. Anyway, Ryan, should people go see? Ryan, first, can you believe it? And second, is it what you thought?
Did you hear Tom Hardy is going to play Venom?
Yeah. So one, I can't believe this movie actually saw the light of day. Two, when it started, I'm like, this isn't half bad.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of horrific,
and it's the J. Jonah Jameson. Well, I mean, we'll get into it after. that. Sorry, I'll let you go.
And I do like Tom Hardy in this a lot. I think that he understood what he was making. But having said that, it starts falling apart when they introduce the symbiote. Like when they start introducing Venom and Riot and all the other parasites.
How many were there? Because I thought the movie started with 3, and then there was like 5 in the middle of it.
And I think too.
I think there's 4.
I think that's where I lost it too, because it's kind of a mess, and they don't know how to get themselves out of this mess. So they're going to put in Venom doing stuff like the Hulk did in the soda pop factory, and but I will say I am surprised it isn't a big a train wreck as I was expecting.
No.
But it does prove that you do need Spider-Man, because you do need a balance here. Mm-hmm. And I think the balance is, I don't
Michelle
like
Williams for now.
Yeah. I don't like being force-fed an anti-hero. And
and we should play the trailer and get into it. But I would say, since no one should see this movie, you should just listen to us talk about the rest of this movie, because it's ridiculous. And while there are things to spoil, I don't think that there's anything that will spoil the movie.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yep.
I'm Eddie Brock. I'm a reporter. I always seem to find myself questioning something the government may not be looking at. I found something really bad. And I have been... Eddie. Who said that? Taken.
Look around at the world. What do you see? A planet on the brink of collapse. Human beings are disposable. But man and symbiote combined. This is a new race, a new species. A higher life form.
What do you want from me?
You'll find out.
I'm so sorry. We cannot just hurt people.
Look into my eyes, Eddie. The way I see it. We can do whatever we want. Do we have a deal? Eyes, lungs, pancreas. So many snacks, so little time.
That power, it's not completely awful.
You have no idea how much you're scaring me right now.
Eddie, cooperate. And you just might survive.
Guys, you do not want to do this, trust me.
Giant leaps will always come at a cost.
We will eat both your arms and then both of your legs, and then we will eat your face right up your head. You will be this armless, legless, faceless thing, won't you? Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
What the hell are you?
We are Venom.
Oh, I have a power to say. Yeah, Name is Chen.
You're Venom. And to touch, did you have enough time to play a trailer? Sorry, Brad.
Yes.
Okay, to touch on like the credits. Oh my God.
Oh,
like
they're so fucking long.
So
like
the credits.
I looked at my phone for a little bit and looked back and was like, "This is still going." And then the Spider-Man part happened.
Right, like Zach left, came back. There was one point
there was a
where
French
it's just
special
three...
effects crew, and then like an Eastern effects crew.
Right,
Yeah.
and there was a section where there was this long list of names that I'm sure was special effects. It was so long, and it was in alphabetical order. It was so long, I didn't remember what it was. So that I was like, it was like when you're watching the extended edition of the Lord of the Rings, and you get to the fan section where it's just names for 10 minutes. Like, oh my
And here's the thing, but the Eminem song is garbage.
It's awful.
But the opening where it was like ink blots and stuff, I thought looked really
That was
cool.
cool, yeah.
I was having a seizure listening to the music, so I don't remember that part. Yeah,
But
is he saying
it was
Venom?
cool.
Yeah, he's saying Venom.
Yeah, and I thought like this is like some weird rap song that is about Venom, right? And then he's like Eddie Brock, and I was like, wait, no, this is a tie-in song, and I'm pretty sure that's Eminem.
Which
you should know better.
Which is something that would make my heart sing under different
No,
circumstances.
there's nothing good about tie-in songs.
Oh, are you kidding? Some of them are wonderful.
No, this is Jean-Claude Van
Space Jam.
Van's son.
Even if you don't like Space Jam, agreed. Space Jam the song, pretty awesome.
Okay.
Anyways, the film. So, is it a sequel to Life? Because I haven't seen.
I thought
Life.
that's what I was
it is.
thinking.
It is totally Life. Yes.
Because
yes, this is the movie that comes after Life.
Because
The Life Foundation in it.
Yeah, because the spaceship's crashing and it said Life on it. I said, no, is this really a sequel?
Right. And the creature in, like at the beginning of Life, is Venom.
A great Spider-Man shout out right away. John Jameson is the astronaut who lives and dies.
The movie started right up here and then went down very fast.
But because I will tell you, I was shocked. I'm like, am I going to like this movie? Because I was watching the beginning, and it's horror and it's bones that are being put back into place, and I'm going, okay, I'm down with this. And I did like Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock, and I'm going, okay,
and it
I'm
felt
getting this.
Early on, the worst part about it was it just felt like it was edited too quickly, like it was edited down. So I was like, okay, well, if they really did cut like 20 minutes out of this that were the best 20 minutes, then maybe that is the problem. Like maybe all these scenes were just a little bit longer and this flowed a little better. You know, I was like, oh, okay, I could forgive that.
Yeah, and I was starting to get into it. I'm like, this is okay. I'm not loving this, but I don't mind the film right now. As it slowly dragged on, I did start noticing, like, man, Venom hasn't been on screen in a long time, and
so bored.
It takes a while to get Venom actually on screen, and I get they're trying to build up, but the problem is he's not a Bruce Wayne, he's not a Batman, he's not a Peter Parker.
Yeah.
So you don't feel that connection to him because how he gets fired is he's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you don't like him.
He's the worst. Like he's an idiot. Like oh my gosh.
I like that they were both losers on their planet.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
fun.
That little aspect was good. But like, yeah, that scene happens where he goes and like harasses Elon Musk, and you're like, wait, what did you think was gonna happen? Like, all you did was get into a room so you could insult the guy. Like, this isn't
After you're
great
just told
journalism.
not to.
Yeah. Like, so then when sure enough, you and your fiance get fired. Like, what did you think? Like, that doesn't engender me to the character.
Probably the
at all.
worst special effects was Michelle Williams' wig. What the fuck?
Yes, I said that too. I was like, what the heck? Like, my goodness, it's just awful.
I like the idea, or at least the notion of him, like, intentionally fucking up his own, like, prospects in life because of his arrogance and his... But it doesn't play out the way it's supposed to if you do it right. And what's more, it's done in this, like, the scene before he interviews him where he's talking to that group of kids, and the girl asks him a question, and before you think he's even going to ask the question, he does that thing of, like, don't let anyone silence you and tell you can ask a question. And I'm like, did they cut to him making that speech after she asked the question?
Yeah, because
what? But again, he said, James told me later on that I guess he says, like, that woman will ask your question. But I'm like, no, you had something else here, and you just ADR'd that because this cut feels weird. Again, like, and also, like, the beginning of the film, like, there's suspense of the symbiote popping out and then flipping the truck. Like, I like the part after the truck flips where it comes through the steel and then it's just walking down a lonely road, but like it felt like this all of a sudden, like no build up, no suspense, like not for me, like enough build up. Like you stretch it out a little bit, especially since you're already spending 2 hours with this movie.
Well, it's an hour and 37 minutes because the credits were 15 minutes
Yeah,
long.
that's right. Sorry, my bad. If you're going to have that longer credit sequence, then like please extend that out and should build up some tension. Like I know there's more movie here besides your credits.
Well, I think Tom Hardy said they cut out 40 minutes of it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So like, but again, like I wasn't like I didn't start off hating the movie. Like I actually like Tom Hardy's performance is obviously
he's
the
great
best
in the
part of
film.
this. Yeah, he's the best part. But it's not enough for me to recommend it at all because of the fact of like it doesn't matter how brilliant he's doing this. It all still feels like, well, I know what this is useful for, being a meme and a GIF on the internet and on my phone that I can use.
And in my theater, the audience loved it though. They were laughing and cheering, and I'm going, "Am I missing something here?"
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if it's because I've seen so many films, but there's a part where his roommate or his neighbor plays his music really loud, and as soon as Venom's inside him, he goes there and knocks, and it has like that quick flash of teeth and stuff. And I was like, "Okay, man!" And my audience like lost it, and they were laughing. And
I think that's us having watched too many movies because that joke's been done to death.
Yeah. I think to me, like the whole thing, the nail in the coffin, far enough down the road is. There is this scene later on which I like the beginning of, where Venom says, like, oh, I'm kind of a loser on my planet, but if I stick around here, like, I could be awesome, you know? And then the end of that scene, Eddie Brock's like, well, but no, really, like, what changed your mind? And Venom goes, you did, Eddie.
Like,
and I'm
no,
like,
you didn't.
When?
Yeah.
When did that happen? I'm sorry,
Well,
the last time I saw you, you were just killing police officers.
Well, I think it's implying that because he's attached to Eddie, like he's just kind of like osmosisly affecting him.
But Eddie's not Steve Rogers.
No, but we're seeing so much of like on the surface that the symbiote is changing Eddie.
Yeah.
That what we can't see is that like chemically in the background, Eddie's affecting him without being obvious about it.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just not good story. Like it's not. Eddie's not a good guy, so I can't root for Eddie. I can't root for Venom.
He's not terrible though. Like
he's kind of an idiot.
He's just an idiot.
Yeah. Like he's not a good guy.
He has poor judgment, I guess.
Yeah, like he's.
I'm rooting for the doctor that Michelle Williams is dating.
Yeah,
because
he's in deep.
He's the most likable person
really
in this
was.
movie.
Oh yeah,
because you know what? He knows how to take an important stance. He's not worried if Michelle Williams and Tom Hardy are together. He's worried about the fucking alien that they locked in the door.
He's actually really great, and like there's a scene later where like he's sad and they're apart, and I'm like, am I supposed to be rooting for them to get together? Because I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Williams should stay with the doctor. Mm-hmm. He's really nice. Not even jealous when like doesn't do the normal movie thing of like, hey dude, she doesn't want you coming around. And he's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna let you guys talk. I'll be inside. Because like I know what's going on.
Speaking of which, like his tolerance and patience for him, the scene where Tom Hardy is bathing in lobsters is absolutely stellar.
It's still, yeah, like, it's this weird, like, just slapsticky. It was so off the wall weird that I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, because it goes beyond the potential to be, like, catchy and clever and just becomes a Nicolas Cage performance, which is, not unwanted, but...
It was at least entertaining in the ways that the scenes around that were boring.
You know how I liked, you know what I did, like appreciate, though? Like, the Eddie Brock, in terms of how they set him up, though, like... If you're gonna like isolate him from the Spidey universe and stuff like that, and like kind of keep the Jameson stuff in the background, I like that they established like he's a journalist, he's like an investigative reporter. Like I liked that element a lot.
Oh yeah, no, there's moment. I am shocked that there is stuff in it that I didn't think was absolutely garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, some of the stuff that Venom did, it was pretty fun, But the weight of the film, it's too much of a mess for it to succeed.
Right.
If you took Eddie Brock, if you took Tom Hardy out of this movie, the movie is completely useless. Like, I really think that it so much of it rests on how good his performance is as being, like, just weird and kind of crazy and, like, you know, like, if you really think about it, like, that line where he gets... they crash the motorcycle and then Venom jumps in the water and then he pops out and he's like, he gets up and he's like, oh, my legs, they're not broken. And I'm like, if another actor had done that and just gotten up and gone, whoa, if Keanu Reeves had done that and got up and went, whoa, my legs are broken, you'd be like, this is the worst movie ever. But he pulls it off in this weird character thing that just works for some reason. Like, his dialogue is so often so terrible, and yet his performance makes it entertaining. Like, I really think if you'd cast anybody else, this movie would be unwatchable.
I mean, and the ending is too much CGI. It's too.
I actually thought, like, the CGI is a little unrealistic, but I think some of the other effects they did with it, like the frame skipping sometimes,
that's fine.
The
That's cool.
level of detail of some things. It's like if that one guy, so Riot can like create blades and whatever and like stab people.
He's got shit you haven't even thought of.
And then they're finally tussling again, and he just doesn't do that at all. And then also, so Michelle Williams blasts the sonic frequency, which I think they do a great job of setting up that thing as like a thing that.
Yeah.
Early on, they take care of that.
Yeah.
But she blasts it, and then all of a sudden, I guess she just stops blasting it so that they can get back into dialogue.
Yeah, she only needs to help a little.
Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't need to save the day.
I mean, the smart thing would let it just go.
But she told you she could fight dirty.
Yeah, she could have just left it on.
Yeah.
Yes. Movie over.
Yeah.
Like,
but you didn't want to hurt Eddie because
he's fine.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a symbiote on him.
It's better for him because it would get the symbiote off of him.
Might as well kill them both.
Stan Lee's cameo was fun.
That line early on when Jenny Slate is talking to Drake, explaining like the science of the symbiote. We've already had a scene where we established that this is a child prodigy scientist, Elon Musk, who knows everything about everything. And he has the dialogue of like, oh, so like it attaches to you and you gain its abilities. It shares your like. Why is he vocalizing something he probably is well aware of?
That's one of my the worst scenes in the film.
Yeah.
Like that whole sequence with the
Clearly
rabbit
exposition
is like
for the audience.
Well, and because like they both pop up at the same time that they're testing it on a rabbit that ends up being the right one. And then it's there, like they're getting so much work done in such a tiny little useless scene where like he's also setting up that he wants to do human trials and starting the whole thing of her wanting to turn. And I told Zach in the car, I was like, honestly, the easiest way to fix this movie, make him Elon Musk. Like make him a guy who actually wants to do good, who's not just inherently evil, but screws up, because the villain is Riot. And also the villain is Venom. Like, the villains are the symbiotes. So your actual plot of the film is make that guy just honestly, they should have just made him J. Jonah Jameson's son. And like, he's a good guy, but he's got this thing in him that's making him bad. And then Eddie has to convince Venom to be good. And now
all the power, none of the responsibility.
Yeah, there you go. More
I stole that from Superior Spider-Man.
More power, no responsibility. What? I just
ain't your dad, Spider-Man.
Making that villain this like Malin Ackerman from Rampage chainsuing garbage he's just not very. All of his scenes are dumb. All of his arguments are stupid. Like he's just annoying on screen.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the tag scene too in the middle. I love the idea of Woody Harrelson playing Carnage. I think it's fun, but
in a giant clown afro.
Yeah, well, that's what he looks like in the comics. I'm not gonna.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but there'll probably be a PG-13 movie somehow for Carnage.
Yeah. But I'm interested how they pulled it off because Carnage is the spawn of Venom because they share a cell, and the line he says, "When I get out of here, and I will, there'll be." And there's literally a pull-in.
Carnage. Well, okay, so is Carnage the symbiote already there? Or is this movie a new Transformers franchise where every movie starts with another space alien falls from the sky and we have to fight it this time?
Like I said, I think there's 4 of those jars, and
I guess one got out because did the one that killed Skirth get out?
They killed 2.
The one that Jenny Slate got died in the room, right?
Yeah, and then they killed one earlier when they didn't know how to keep him alive. So the only 2 left were Venom and Riot, and none of them were red.
But one took a spaceship 5 minutes after the first one. Sorry, I don't know.
Well, no, just the next movie, like the comet cat passes over, and another like Carnage and fucking.
You know what happened? They hitched a ride with the aliens
Starscream
thing.
land.
I guess for all we know, he's maybe been Carnage long before this.
Maybe that's the thing.
Incident happened.
Maybe that's why he's a serial killer. Who knows?
Yeah. He's better at being low key
but
about it.
I guess because they said too he wanted to see Brock specifically.
Maybe.
So I don't know. Whatever.
We'll find out in our inevitable sequel.
Venom, Lethal Protector.
And that's what frustrates me about this the most, because up until reading that big picture book I had read recently about state of Hollywood and stuff like that, like, and they talk about Sony a ton. Like, it's almost predicated on telling the story of Sony's rise and downfall with the email stuff. I don't like if this movie is super successful and gives them a sequel stuff. I don't like the lesson that Sony's going to learn from that, because they learned their lesson by giving Spider-Man to Marvel, and I don't like the fact that they're just going to keep. I get it; it's good for business, but like.
But the problem is not because they have Venom. Venom is not a deep enough character to sustain.
Yeah,
a film.
That's one part of it, but the other one is like, even if it's Sony needs to find a different strategy, in my opinion, than just relying on something that they know is going to be inherently flawed at some point. Even if it's successful now, it doesn't mean it's going to be successful in the next go around.
I don't think they do know. Like, I think they
do, and they just don't care.
I don't think they understand what they're doing.
No, they haven't since. Like Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, like, regardless of their quality, did not make the profit margin that they wanted. So I don't think they know how to do it, whereas Marvel does know how to do it. So
I think they don't know how to.
It's just, I don't know. Like, to me, the whole thing kind of left me going, like, this really, like, I'm glad it exists for the sake of talking about it, but at the same time, I'm like, I didn't really need that. And A Star Is Born came out this week. I could have just gone to that and watched Bradley Cooper sing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I will say, though, I kind of want to watch it again if they do a We Hate Movies or a How Did This Get Made on it. Because, like, We Hate Movies probably more so.
I don't think it's bad enough for How Did This Get Made.
No, but it's bad enough for We Hate Movies. They'll tear this one to shreds, and I would love to see that happen. So,
is Dr. Skirth the character from the comics?
I have no idea.
Sure.
As a writer, like, picking out names, I was like, that's, before you actually see it on the name tag, it sounds like Dr. Skirt. And, of course, Skirt's like...
Yes, she is.
She's from the comics?
Yes, Dr. Dora Skirt.
It's just like Lady Doctor. Like, that's
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And things?
I mean, it's the Venom universe, so I'm sure at some point she's a Venom.
Yeah.
Like, because everybody's a Venom, and Wing is a Venom. Oh, yeah, you get Lady Venom for a second.
Yep.
In a sequence that doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't Venom just punch through the glass and take her? Like, that would have been a cooler, like, they have their thing, and she and Dana are arguing, and then, like, the glass breaks, and it jumps onto her, and then you just cut away, and you're like, oh, no.
Because looking at a menacing dog is funny, James.
Right, like, why the dog at all? Like, especially
because
this
it's a
weird
tiny
scene
dog
where the dog goes and, like, stares creepy at her. Because I thought she was going to show up in the woods, because when you've caught Eddie Brock and you're supposed to kill him, the thing to do is spend 40 minutes walking him into the woods. Anyway, I thought, like, she was going to show up with a dog, or the dog was just going to run up and be like, I'm a dog, and then, like, explode on them.
James, because great things come in small packages, and that's the implication, because then all of a sudden, bam, you get female Venom.
Yes.
And then she, like, and Tom Hardy spits. You know what I mean? They make out.
Yep. Next week on Real Nerds, we're seeing Hellfest.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm not going to be here. So.
Oh, you're not going to see First Man. All right. So next week on Real Nerds, we're seeing First Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
I'm going to be in Glenwood.
Yep. Because there's another movie. What's else is coming out next week?
Bad Times at El Royale.
Yeah.
But I'm suggesting, I know Halloween comes out the week after it, but the week of Halloween sucks. So I think we should push Halloween. Like, you can go see it. We just won't talk about it until Halloween week. And then we could do Bad Times at El Royale in place of Halloween's week. Does that make sense?
I'm down. Or like,
we do Bad Times for Halloween.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's out that long, I don't know what its run is going to be.
It's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's only 2 weeks. It'll still be somewhere.
I think having Halloween on Halloween makes more sense, but
I mean, yes.
I'm down for whatever.
But we got to review it so people know whether they should see it on Halloween.
Do you think that people have that time?
I'm also going to be. I'm going to be gone that week too, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my argument would be is Halloween's going to be a big movie that week.
Yeah.
And if we put it off,
true, yeah. I'm down for whatever's.
Come out on
We'll figure
Fridays, so they're already a week late, but okay.
I'm down for whatever's.
But next week's First Man, for sure.
Yep.
I think I've got to go to IMAX for that one.
Yep. See you next week.
Cool.
Bye.
Bye. Kellen, say bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Real Nerds Podcast. Real Nerds Podcast is a production of Nebulous Visions Multimedia. Thank you to Sparks Mandrill and Plan 9 Studios for our kick-ass theme song. Also, if you're in the Denver area and you're looking for a cool place to see movies, we see them at the Alamo Draft House in Littleton and now also in Sloan's Lake. Thank you to Colorado Coins, Cards, and Comics for supplying us with all our comic needs, especially you, Andrew. You know who you are. And a big shout out to James's mom. I'm giving you an electronic hug that you can feel through the airwaves. Thanks for listening, and have a nice day.